tell you things are bad? Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
Peace, peace. Welcome back, everybody, to the Wake Up Show with yours truly, episode 11. And we're going to continue on. We're going to finish up the end piece of Hollywood Babylon. And I got a bunch of clips here to kind of build off of some of the ideas there, focusing on what appears to be a type of spiritism in entertainment media and the entertainment industry, a type of guiding light, if you will, for a lot of these artists and these musicians. And these are things that we're, especially those of us that are believers, are well aware of, but it's interesting to look back and see how all of these things have transpired over time, and then consider, as we move into the internet of things, media-based streamer culture, content creation, where does this type of spirit, where does this type of energy rest today? And it's fascinating because you don't hear a whole lot about it. I think we definitely see it just in the behaviors, but it's something that I think is pretty important to juxtapose the media then that brought us what we consider media today, especially pop cultural media, the popular stuff, the mainstream stuff. And though Kenneth Anger was by no means mainstream, if anything, he was very fringe and wasn't really, I guess, exalted or respected till much later. He had a very big influence on a lot of artists and very influential people that would make huge impacts on culture. Very similar to how Crowley had such a big influence on entertainment and culture in that sense. And of course, Anger being a Crowleyite, right? So let's look at this article quickly here before we jump right into the rest of the documentary. This was from 2003 when Anger actually passed at 96 years old. May of 2023, not too long ago. Titled here, Sexual Subcultures, Fetish on Film, and Banned Books, Kenneth Anger, A Life in Pictures. He reminds me, playing a different type of position, but presenting a similar spirit, what we would have saw with Andy Warhol and his factory movement. What we also saw with, of course, in the scientific biological era or angle, we saw Alfred Kinsey. Right? And then, so it just makes sense to see the connection between all of these people. Yeah, May 25th, 2023. So let's look at some of this here. Um, go down here. So this one here, very important image, a very young Kenneth Anger, of course, exalting Crowley himself with the infamous Alfred Kinsey, famous for his Kinsey reports. Those who aren't familiar with Kinsey, he is, I'd say, the forefather of this new type of hyper progressive scientism we see today, with, say, gender affirming care, with all of the kind of rainbow brigade, sexo political stuff we've been hearing about. Because he did the Kinsey report, he did one for men and one for women. And in his report, it's a really disgusting story. I, I really don't like going into it much because it's pretty sick what the types of tests he was doing. Yeah, PDF, absolutely. He was testing on babies, different things. Let's just say arousal experiments on babies. Sick stuff. And he completely misrepresented data, like most scientists do industrially, with ulterior motives. He was pushing an agenda that wanted to make it appear as if heterosexuality was not necessarily normal, or if anything, it was just one part of human behavior that is nuanced and on a continuum, right? A spectrum. And he came out with these reports that stated a certain percentage of Americans were homosexual, and it was a very large percentage. I believe, my memory serves, it was, I mean, maybe up to like 10% or something crazy like that. And at the time, though there wasn't any real data, even to this day, I believe it's beneath 2%, right? Because it's a very isolated and minority group when we look at the entire population. Though it's growing, I think, I mean, this is a long conversation to have, but I think it's growing because of social contagion. I don't believe it's growing because of genuine, authentic same-sex attraction. I believe a lot of what we're seeing is this type of ephemeral, it comes and goes, especially with young people, Gen Z as an example, that have this high percentage of self-reporting same-sex attraction. I think a lot of this has to do with the social contagion of scrolling and social media that keeps inundating their minds with these messages. And when a young person, is just forming their identity and developing their ability to be social and integrate into the social fabric of, of their environment, they're innocent, they're immature emotionally, they're impressionable, they're easily swayed and moved. And of course, they are susceptible to mimicry, to fit in. They want to fit in. So it makes sense that they would buy into a lot of what they see and copy friends, and through this confusion of identity, probably misunderstand themselves to the degree that they might even believe that they're same-sex attracted. And then there's the whole trans issue that I believe is, and this is my personal belief, and I base this on quite a bit of scientific evidence as well as my own sociological research. But a lot of what we're seeing with the trans is a spectrum issue. It is directly related to autism with regard to this confusion about one's gender identity. It ties into spectrum things. It's a fascinating research path to go down. But I think a lot of what we're seeing there is just one element, or let's say symptom, of autism. So anyhow, it's Kinsey. It's such an important figure when we consider the sexualization of our science culture, if you will, of today. Right? A lot of it is rooted in this guy. And it's interesting to see his direct ties and connections to influential uh, tastemakers and cultural influencers in entertainment, as well as their adherence to this philosophy and spiritual school, OTO, Golden Dawn, etc., of Crowley. So it's from sex magic to sexual confusion to degeneracy and sadomasochism, and of course, music and Hollywood film, symbol, image, audio, all going back to this kind of spiritual influence we see in Crowley. Really interesting to see the connection. So here it says Anger became friendly with American sexologist Alfred Kinsey. In 1955, they traveled to Cafulu in Sicily to visit the derelict Abbey of Thelema, there we go, where writer Aleister Crowley had briefly established a commune in the 1920s before being expelled by Mussolini. Anger's film about the Abbey, featuring restored murals from Crowley's time, is now lost. Now let's continue here. Anger's 1954 film inauguration of the Pleasure Dome reminds me of the pleasure industries, which is what we're dealing with when we talk about Hollywood and today, OnlyFans and all of the degeneracy we see on Instagram and TikTok is this new type of pleasure industry for the youth. Yeah, really kicked off when the Wuhan Wiggle hit. Yep, absolutely. Shout out to the chat. Good to see you guys. Shout out to the mods. B1, King of Kong. Good to see you. Corey G, Byron Adams, D Dubs. Great to see you guys. Grape T, of course. KHP in the building. Good to see you. Del Griffith as well. Planet Firm. Sweet Talani. Rebecca Lynn. All you guys. Thank you for being with me. Michael Shadell. Renegade One. Joey Goyam. Good to see you, man. And of course, Yeshua. Always good to see you. All right, now, Diz Loot in the building as well. Rage Against the Machine is with us. And Vape King, good to see you, man. Also be screened at the time of autism diagnosis. I was floored by that. Yeah, I'm sure. It's the whole autism diagnosis, autism spectrum. It's such an interesting thing, and I'm still trying to work it out as far as my full position on it. It's an anomaly. There's so much research that still needs to be done, and there's so many different, I guess, influences. I do definitely believe jabs have a lot to do with it for sure. I know jabs play a role, but when you really dig into autism, especially when you look into some of the symptom, or should we say, ways to lower the symptoms. Diet, for instance, like the GAPS diet. You put an autistic child on a GAPS diet, and you get to see drastic change in their behaviors, right? And that to me is really interesting because then you see there's a gut connection, right? Like a gut-brain connection to this because it's a brain thing, and we understand the gut is connected to the brain, influences function of the brain, right? So there's a dietary element there. I don't like to really get involved in the genetic arguments. I think things are such more deeper than genetics, though. Sure, genetics could play a role, absolutely. There's always some genotype influence. But it's just, it's such a fascinating thing. And then I think, I don't want to spend too much time on this topic, but it's interesting, right? I think about personality and how a lot of symptoms that we see with autism also are related to certain types of introverted personality features. It's like almost a hyper introversion aspects of autism. And of course, it's spectral, right? So I do understand there's a spectrum of behaviors, right? There's Asperger's. That's not even considered anymore in that they took it out of the DSM. But I think Asperger's, I've heard it pronounced different ways. I think it is very significant, and it's a shame that they've just completely removed that because I think what we see in Asperger's is quite different from what we see in more lower functioning autism. It's such an interesting thing, and I've been researching it for some time. I don't talk a whole lot about it because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and I have a lot of different ideas. Maybe one day, I'll do something with some of that research once I feel a little more confident in my position. But it's tough. I have friends and family that are autistic. I'm very familiar with it. So it's something that is in my backyard, if you will. So it's something that I'm somewhat passionate about. Um, and it seems to be something that's becoming more and more common, right? Has it always been the case? We're just discovering it now, or is it being increased, by certain technologies? I mean, there's so many different positions to look at. Can it be induced, literally induced? It's tough. A lot of high functioning spectrum people unnoticeable. Yeah, and I would consider those Asperger's or Aspies, right? Shout out to my Aspies. It is rather unnoticeable. And there's element of masking. And once you get good, especially when you're older, you're so good at masking, no one would even know, you know, for those that understand that. Right. Anyhow, let's continue. And not just autism, but even just learning disabilities. When we think of ADD, ADHD, right? Okay, so you totally understand broken toy line. You totally understand. Yeah, and there's a lot of difficulties that come with it, right? Like growing up, learning how to mask and getting good at it. And trust me, the older you get, the better you'll get at it. Trust me, especially when you get past 30. And you want to be social as much as possible. You really want to try to bring some pseudo extrovert out of you, and it will help you over time. Practice. That's what I say. Practice. Get out there and feel uncomfortable, feel awkward. Let it bathe in the awkwardness. It'll help. It really will help. Trust me. A lot of social practice, your masking will get better, and you won't feel as uncomfortable. That whole feeling about, after social, after social engagements, and you're kind of ruminating over the situation, playing in your head over and over again, testing and examining how you performed, etc. It's very exhausting, right? But you'll get better at that. Trust me. Yeah, it's very common, extremely common, more common than I think people are willing to admit. Yeah. Let's continue. Okay, so Anger's 1954 film inauguration of the Pleasure Dome saw him plunge fully into Crowley's ideas, depicting a collection of deities and legends assembling in fantastical space. Pictured here is writer Anais Nin as Phoenician goddess Astarte. So here we go, with the Egyptian mysticism, straight up Crowley, right? And we see this all the way through Hollywood and even into the hip hop industry and the music industry. And of course, we see it as a foundational component to our own government. We just look at look at the dollar bill. It goes deep. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. And I would also say for the Aspies, man, you guys know what's up. There is a special power with it too. The hyper focus is amazing. You get amazing things done, right? But you have to battle. And this also goes for learning disabilities. Myself having a learning disability that crosses that. What is it? What's the term? It in a sense crosses over with. Um, oh my goodness. Symptoms. I guess the symptoms have a crossover with Asperger's and ADD, ADHD, and um, other types of learning disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, myself suffering from dysgraphia. So we have a lot of, and possibly levels of Asperger's myself, but we do have the ability to hyper focus on things, but we also have to battle with executive function issues too. So it's this battle and it's this like curse and a gift kind of thing that you're dealing with, right? You have the ability to make things happen, and you can really hyper focus and produce things at a level most people can't. But your ability to hyper focus also has to battle with this inability to keep things in a consistent, orderly fashion, right? It's just this. It's a struggle, and that's something that you'll probably deal with your whole life unless you do a lot of practice. Practice. Lists are your superpower if you use them. Write everything down. Start using pens and paper. I have a notepad literally everywhere. I have one in my car. I have one at any desk, whether it's home or office. I keep one on my body. You want to write things down all the time, um, because the mind can, there's a lot going on in there, and it could cause anxiety. It can cause stress. You have these floating, like, subconscious ideas that need to be ordered, and you're not getting them in order, and that creates a type of discomfort and discontent, and you got to get those things out of your head, and the best way to do that is by writing them down. If you're not writing regularly as an Aspie, you should start. It will help you a lot. And if you're not verbal, because there's Aspies that are less verbal, if you're more visual, draw, create things, use your hands. Use your hands. And myself dealing with issues there, sensory motor issues. Practice, man. Practice. What you're weak at, practice. Force yourself to it. Force yourself to do it. Over time, you'll get better. It takes time. Listen, it takes decades, depending on where you're at and what disability you have. But there's many of us out here that have lived a whole life of struggle in silence, silent struggle, as a kid dealing with things in school and, thinking, just being shocked that everyone else doesn't have to deal with this crap. That's the hardest part, when you realize certain things that come so easy to other people, you have to do 100 different types of things just to get it right. That's a whole different topic. Maybe we'll jump into sometime, just learning disabilities and all the different types, and how they're also similar in so many different ways. And when it comes to diagnosis, the diagnoses are often very, very wrong, and we're put on drugs and all types of stuff that we don't need, when really it could boil down to a little bit of practice, a little bit of exposure, some socialization, and diet. Those things can help you out so much, man. So much. Diet, socializing, getting hobbies, using your hands, and getting in your body. I'd say for me, that helped me out a lot. Getting in your body. I grew up in a very extroverted, well, not necessarily extroverted, because my whole family's pretty introverted, but very physical, sensory-based family. I was the only more kind of what some would call intuitive types. My family being very censored based. They're all physical, right? They're all athletes. They're all, very tactile, and I wasn't. So I was raised in that kind of family, and I was forced to do things. My dad had me playing every sport I could from 8 to 18. And I grew to love it, right? And so that helped me out a lot. That helped, if being physical. Like, if you're the less physical type, if you're more introverted, more intuitive, like more in your head type, kind of have almost a detachment from your body, disembodied kind of thing, because that's very normal, especially for Aspies. Get in your body, man. Yeah, there is this kind of middle ground of the extroverted, introverted. I do understand, Daryl. This, like myself being an introvert, I could be very extroverted when I need to. I grew up in a family that was pretty social, for social introverts, if you will. So I learned a lot. I learned how to be that way, especially from my mom being the most social one. They used to have parties and people over all the time, and I just learned how to be like that. It never felt comfortable. To this day, it still feels uncomfortable. I still have to, like, perform, but that's just part of it. And I think that goes for all introverts, even non-Aspie, non-ADD type introverts, right? It's a performance. You have to perform certain social things. And I think what really makes you an introvert is your energy. So a lot of people misunderstand the real definitions of introvert and extrovert, right? So the proper way to define introvert and extrovert is the way you process energy, right? So the introvert, we process energy by being in solitude. We process energy internally, thinking about things, understanding things, being alone, being in a safe space, or should I say, our own space for a certain amount of time a day. That's how we that's how we build energy and maintain and sustain energy. When we start to integrate and socialize, especially in big groups, we lose energy. We become tired and exhausted. It's the opposite for extroverts. And a true extrovert gains energy from being around people and socializing with people and being in the presence of people, right? At least from the literature. This is the best way to describe or to define the differences. So though you can be a little extroverted and a little introverted, you do have a standard or an objective kind of base that you work from. So you can be an extrovert base, but you kind of have some introverted aspects of yourself. Maybe you don't like people very much, or there's many different. That's a little more rare, to see someone who's really an extrovert but kind of takes on these introverted behaviors. I think you could probably learn those or be in a relationship with an introvert, and that could influence you as well. Just like vice versa, you could be married to an extrovert as an introvert, but then have some extroverted powers that you kind of glean from your significant other, and it could kind of go back and forth, which is cool. That's how my marriage is. I'm the introvert, she's the extrovert, so it's a nice dynamic. I've dated girls in my life that were introverts. Actually, most of the girls I've dated in my life were introverted, so it's funny how I ended up marrying an extrovert. But it just seems the contrast is really nice. And I know everything is subjective in that sense, so anything could really work depending on the people. But and introverts need people around them too, right? We do. It's a requirement. Otherwise, we'll get depressed and we'll lose meaning and purpose in life. And that's where we fail, I think, is when we isolate ourselves too much, right? We need people too. It's just not as much. Or should I say this? We need breaks. We need time alone. Like traveling with people for the introverts is difficult. And of course, we don't want to define ourselves through these terms and concepts either. They just describe aspects of ourselves. They don't like make up our identity. We have to be careful with that too. I know a lot of people kind of like define their identity through, oh, I'm ADD, or I'm autistic. It's like we have to be careful doing that. Right? Your identity should be in Christ, as far as I'm concerned. But and then there's degrees of it too. Some people literally don't ever want to be around people, right? And some people always have to be around people. There's always this dynamic. But as introverts tend to just need time alone, breaks to gain energy, and traveling with people is very difficult for an introvert. I would think. At least I struggle with it sometimes, especially if you're traveling with a big group and you're constantly in the presence of them. It doesn't matter if they're friends or family. It doesn't matter. It's like you need time to get away. It's like I need a moment. I got to go somewhere and just kind of like regenerate and think about things and just kind of like gather myself, especially at parties. Trust me, man, if I'm at a big, and I love partying. I've always been a partier. I kind of learned that from my parents because they were like into all of that. I was exposed early. I had a long, fun, pleasurable party life after college and during college and even before college. But even at parties, there's moments where I just got to dip for a minute. Especially if I'm at home. If I'm having a party at my house, yeah, you'll see me disappear for like a good 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to my room. I just got to chill out. It's weird. I know, especially to like neuro what do they call them? Neurotypicals. That's probably weird, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm rambling about stuff we're not even talking about. Let's get into this. Now, here's another image from inauguration of the Pleasure Dome with Marjorie Cameron as the Scarlet Woman. The Scarlet Woman. There we go. Lady in red. A big archetype, right? The embodiment of Crowley's idea of the liberated sexual woman. This is so key. I think this relates to a lot of stuff we were talking about yesterday. This idea of sexualizing women, creating this kind of siren character that's, in a sense, sexual, but also evil or bad. Right? It's just the juxtaposition is dangerous. I'd say it's demonic, but powerful. Right? Powerful. Yeah. Pleasure Dome. Right? Uh, Cameron, Cameron was the wife of leading Crowley acolyte Jack Parsons. That's right. Yep. Who had died in 1952. So it's all connected. Yeah, it's all connected. Anger put together another Crowley influenced ritual in 1969, the big year of 1969. I did a whole segment on just this year, 1969, in my How Media Shaped the Generations documentary on the main channel. That was back in, I think, 2017. And I really dived into the significance of 1969, this heightened spiritual year where so many things happened. So many things, like demonic spiritual things happened that year, breaking us into the me or the we generation, or no, me generation of 1970. And everything took a serious turn in the 70s, right? Because old Hollywood died, the music industry exploded through disco music and, of course, classic rock, right? This was prior to the birth of hip hop. So the 70s was this new baby, this newborn baby of music entertainment industry. And Hollywood, new Hollywood, because old Hollywood had died in the 60s. So new Hollywood is developing. First, we see some early horror films. And then we also see blaxploitation film industry in 1971 and 1972. Mostly known with the Mac by the Mac, probably one of the more famous ones, of course, Willie Dynamite and these types. But really, it was Sweet Badass Song. What was it? Van Peebles' work. That was pretty much what kicked off the blaxploitation era in 1971. Sweetback's Badass Song was the name of it. Very, very strange, low budget blaxploitation film that even harkened back to the Blue film, the first adult or pornography film. You know, going back to Warhol, who was not just involved in pop art, which he kind of maligned, you know, the art industry by making it very corporate and product based. But he also was the first pornographer, you know, with his movie, I think it was Blue. And Van Peebles built on that in Sweetback's Badass Song by having literally a pretty pornographic sex scene in that film, which really set the tone for the era, just building off of the sexual revolution of the late 60s and interjecting that into the film, but also the blaxploitation element, which really brought in the pimp and hoe era of the Mac, etc., which just demoralized the former liberation, highly political civil rights movement. Just totally demoralized it. Yeah, soundtrack by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yep, you're right, Michael Ryan. You know, historically, I love these films and stuff like that as a study, but then I also have to address, because it's fascinating to me, but I have to address the cultural impacts these films and music, et cetera, and images and symbols had, you know, on a people. It really took everything. The last, listen, the last thing people needed, whether it be black or white, was this message at the time. Right, moving into the 70s was the last thing we all needed. Was, hey, let's just do drugs and have sex and, you know, party. And that's all that came after that. You know, we had the classic rock and just rock era in general from 1970 to 77. I mean, huge. I'm sure all of you guys could name 100 bands. I mean, it was a crazy and powerful time for music. The record industry. Gordon Parks, there we go. Famous photographer. I believe he was CIA. I don't have like documentation to prove it, but I just based on my research and all the connections he had, especially with these social engineering, blaxploitation movement. I personally believe he was if not CIA, some type of informant, some type of operative. Gordon Parks being also the photographer for the Black Panther Party. famous for his, historical images, beautiful images, amazing photographer, by the way. But I can't help but see how all these guys are connected. And then you look into the culture. What was it called? The Culture for Freedom, I think. Culture for Freedom Foundation. It was basically this CIA operative movement to demoralize the West through art. Right? Saunders wrote a good book on this. I forget her first name. I know her last name is Saunders. She wrote a really good book that really dives into this. But it was basically the early culture creation through media and entertainment that was directly related to the feminist movement, etc. Yeah, exactly, Michael. Actually did a video on this. I don't know if it's on YouTube anymore. But Gordon Parks' son, Gordon Parks Jr. made Superfly. Yes, absolutely. Glam rock. There we go. Yep, Bowie, right? Kiss. All these super big bands. Yeah, and then we could go back. Yes, Kanga Kong. Shout out to Shawana. Good to see you, sis. Kanga. We could always go back to the Beatles and the Tavistock Project and their connections there. Yeah, we're actually going to touch. I have a clip here. We're going to look at some clips. I have a Bob Dylan, very famous Bob Dylan clip. All of you are familiar with. I'm going to show that in a second here. So yeah, it's all of this stuff is really, really. It's such a fascinating history to study, but it makes sense why we're at where we are now. When we look at the internet culture and the Gen Z stuff and the TikTok stuff, it's just a hyper version of all of these things that have transpired over time. Really interesting. Anger spent years making Lucifer Rising, partly because much of the footage he shot was used in Invocation of My Demon Brother. He said about another version here. He is filming in London in 1971. So Lucifer tatted on his chest and everything. So this is a type of demonic possession. And I understand these guys, they probably didn't realize it. We're just dabbling in magic. It's cool. It's fun. But no, it's real. It's real. There's a real spiritual thing going on. It's not just fun and games. It's really not. By the way, Mick Jagger was involved with this. Which one is it? I think it's up here. No, I think it's down here. Yeah. This one here, yeah. Anger put together another Crowley-influenced ritual in 1969, Invocation of My Demon Brother. It featured Mick Jagger. Rolling Stones. And the Altamont. Think about the Altamont in 1969 and what happened there. I think that was a sacrifice as well with the Hells Angels. I don't think it was just some fight. I believe that was a sacrifice. There was something going on with that. Because a lot of things transpired after that event. And I mean, so many big events happened in 69. Who performed the score on an early Moog synthesizer, Satanist Anton LaVey, and future Charles Manson acolyte Bobby Beausoleil. Wow. I mean, you got this Church of Satan, you got Charles Manson followers, you got the Process Church wrapped up in this as well somewhere. All of these cults, serial killers, which if you read the David McGowan work, Program to Kill, his research is, wow. He goes into it and it appears as if, just based on some of his connections, it appears as if a lot of what we were seeing with the serial killers of the, say, 60s and 70s, which were huge, Night Stalker and all these types, and even into the 80s, were connected to military and CIA intelligence. Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. History is crazy, man. Anton Oive. Anton Oive, that's funny. Anger tried to get Mick Jagger to play Lucifer, but Jagger turned him down. Instead, Leslie Huggins ended up playing the role. Jagger's brother Chris also appears in the film, as well as Marion Faithfull, Jagger's then girlfriend, and Donald Cammell, who had directed Jagger in a performance. So it's all connected. They're all connected. MK, yep, MK Ultra. All part of a big MK Ultra program. And I think David McGowan does a pretty good job at synthesizing all of this history and coming up with a theory. And I think it's a pretty strong one. Yeah. So let's see. Let's get into the last, it's about maybe 10 or 12 minutes of the documentary, and then we'll go into some clips and just kind of riff and talk about this stuff. All right. Let's uh let's check this out.
A man I've never seen. He has the nerve to tell me that I'm going to kill myself. Oh, are you going to bed?
Yes, it's so late. We'll be in Los Angeles in the morning. I'll see you at breakfast.
Fine.
If I were you, I would...
This? No.
Yes, also David McGowan's Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon. Probably his most known piece. I think he's more famous for that, but the Program to Kill book is the one where he really focuses on the CIA intelligence, military, serial killer theory. But yeah, that's probably his most known work, and an amazing piece.
Right. No stars are going to twinkle, twinkle me into committing suicide.
When the parts dried up, Peg became more depressed. Hollywood's a lonely place for those who haven't made it. The handshakes are reserved for those who have. The 9 tawdry letters on the hill above her house started to haunt her. And one night she found the way up in her own fashion. Not an easy task in high-heel shoes and evening dress. It was a shame that in her one film, Peg had watched someone plunge to her death. These ideas stick. She left her clothes and purse on the ground and climbed the 50-foot H. No one will ever know how long she gazed down at Hollywood that night, or her bitter thoughts. She could see several of the studios from her privileged position. Then she leapt to her death. She didn't know that at that moment in the post was an offer of a job, the juicy role of a girl who commits suicide at the end of the 3rd act.
So here's this ritual he's doing. Yeah, brother Theo, he is, I'd say, if not the pioneer of that kind of study, he's the best at it. And his work on, he breaks down the book. He has a whole series on the weird scenes inside the canyon, and his songwriter's secret, where he goes into the spiritism in the lyrics and just the overall history of occultism and entertainment. No one does it better. Period.
I was frightened of him when I first met him. He used to leave books around and give me things to read, and he really wanted me to get into it, you know, his Crowley obsession. And I didn't want to do it, and I didn't.
Of course, it's creepy. And Bowie was a Crowleyite for a short period as well.
I was scared of Kenneth. Later, I got to really love him, and I became fond of him.
There's this fascination with Lucifer in so many of these artists, and I think it is a spiritual possession, right? It's like Lucifer, we think of him wanting to usurp God and, wanting to be the greatest in the center, this almost this projection or invocation of his desires into these people. And I think this is why they have this obsession with him, because they share his desire to be God.
I've studied magic, and magic is not illusionist magic like pulling rabbits out of hats. I mean, that's an art that I respect, but this is supposedly the real thing. And I've seen it work enough times. I know it's there. It's like a background. It's like a wavelength, a little bit like radio waves.
It was very difficult to work on that film for everyone who was involved because he never told anyone anything. And one of the worst things was this scene in the cemetery. It was really quite weird, and it was at sunrise, and I was sort of crawling around on my hands and knees among all this cemetery life, you know, with max factor blood everywhere. But he was very sweet, and he would tell me what he wanted me to do. And of course, I'm not a real actress, so I didn't have the skills to say, what is the meaning of this thing? You know, I didn't know how to do that. I played Lilith. Very bad. Lilith was the first wife of Adam, the non-human wife, the demonic wife of Adam.
Nonsense.
We're dealing with Aleister Crowley's idea of a ritual, which is called the dramatic ritual, where you impersonate a god and then become that god. So you meditate on a god.
I'm gonna run this back. This is what he's saying here is very important, because the clips I have lined up are going to relate directly to his point here, connecting the artists to this type of spiritism.
I didn't know how to do that. I played Lilith. Very bad. Lilith was the first wife of Adam, the non-human wife, the demonic wife of Adam.
We're dealing with Aleister Crowley's idea of a ritual, which is called the dramatic ritual, where you impersonate a god and then become that god. So you meditate on a god, say, like the god of love, and then you become love. Or maybe you meditate on the god of war, Mars, and become Mars. And the idea is to control it, to feel the god force come through you and to manifest.
My vision of Hollywood was very colored by Kenneth's book, you know. I found it absolutely fascinating. And it brought it all to life for me somehow. And I understood more about glamour and illusion, and it's something to do with going as far away from truth as you can possibly get. But that's Hollywood, I suppose. That's our image, my image of what it's all about.
Wow, that was a powerful last statement. Let's listen to that again. There was so much in that.
My vision of Hollywood was very colored by Kenneth's book, you know. I found it absolutely fascinating. And it brought it all to life for me somehow.
To life, as if it's living.
And I understood more about glamour and illusion, and it's something to do with going as far away from truth as you can possibly get.
Ooh, glamour. Wow. An illusion. Glamour and illusion being these like key definitions of Hollywood. Glamour and illusion, getting away from truth as humanly possible. So if we understand truth to be Christ, it just makes perfect sense, right? It's like the seat of Satan, getting away from truth as humanly possible. Wow.
More about glamour and illusion, and it's something to do with going as far away from truth as you can possibly get. But that's Hollywood, I suppose. That's our image, my image of what it's all about.
That's Hollywood. That's its image. not God's image, but man's image. And then we think about what does Hollywood do but replicate man's image through symbol and video. Yes, that's Hollywood's image, and it's man's image. It's the seat. It's like, I don't want to call it the seat of Satan because that's a bit over the top, but it is this type of, let's say, stronghold. Interesting.
I walk along the street of sorrow.
And there's this endless like sorrow, sadness, depression, because it's all about the flesh. Everyone who's going there is trying to succeed, but they're dying in the process, right? They're spiritually dying. So there's this endless sorrow and depression rooted in narcissistic, ego-based competition and trying to keep up and, trying to be famous. It's just this very fruitless pursuit of the flesh that breeds a type of sadness, right? Because it's antithetical to our nature, our image in God, right? This is the opposite of where we're supposed to be going. It's interesting how there's always this element of, Hollywood just being a place for the lost and a place of sorrow and tragedy.
With tears that tell.
Yes, Lana Del Rey is a great example of this type of perspective. She is this type of depressive, lost, innocent type, right? That's clearly disturbed, sadomasochistic even, yeah.
Of broken dreams.
Broken dreams.
Certainly Hollywood still has scandals. I mean, they range from everything from John Belushi's overdose in a bungalow at the Chateau Marmont Hotel to David Begelman, a top producer, forging checks, even though he was a rich man. No one has yet figured out why he did it. But somehow they don't quite measure up to the old scandals which was in a more innocent age. It was more shocking because these were more idealized people.
The joy that you find here, you borrow.
Ooh, the joy that you find here, you borrow. Ooh, bars. The joy that you find here, oh, you're just borrowing it. It's fleeting. Wow, so deep.
You cannot keep it long at sea. But gigolo and gigolette still sing a song and dance along the boulevard of broken dreams.
Sad psyop. Yeah, that's a good way to
By the
put it.
60s, old Hollywood had died. The battlements of those feudal kingdoms, the studios, fell one by one to the enemy, television. On the empty stages at Columbia, they host game shows these days. The mansions of the stars have crumbled. The swimming pools are empty. The tennis courts overgrown. Sarah Bernhardt believed the movies promised immortality, but in truth, they disappoint like any mere mortal. They grow old and wrinkled, get folded, spindled, and mutilated. Their blooming colors fade like the people do, and like lovers, many explode into flames and disappear without a trace.
And what came and saved the day after old Hollywood died during this period? Of course, cable television and advertising, marketing, a new culture, a new industry of marketing, but also new technology. But more importantly, the blockbuster film. The blockbuster film is what really saved Hollywood. And I might be incorrect here, but just coming off of the dome, off the top, I would think Jaws is what saved Hollywood. Some might say Superman, Um, there's several. Star Wars is a bit late, I think. And maybe there's something that came before, but I'm thinking Jaws might have been that real massive blockbuster film. Someone in the chat throw some possible films out there that you think might be a better one that really saved Hollywood and brought it back to life. Yeah, I'm thinking Star Wars was what, 78, 77? Wasn't when was Jaws? Jaws was like, I thought 70. I don't know. Honestly, I don't. Someone will put something in the chat there. E.T. That's a good one, E.T. Rocky. Ooh, Exorcist. Yeah, that's a good one. That was huge. Grease. Ooh, okay. See, you guys. Godfather. Jurassic Park's a bit late. It has to be early 70s. Yeah, 75, 76. Okay. Yeah, it was Jaws then. Someone give me something bigger than Jaws prior to 75, and then I'll concede. But I think Jaws might have been that which really brought the new Hollywood to life. When was The Exorcist made? Was The Exorcist bigger than Jaws? I don't know, man. I think Jaws was it. That was huge. I mean, even into the 80s, though there of course there were sequels, but even into the 80s and the 90s, Jaws was just constantly referenced. And I guess Exorcist was too. Clockwork Orange wasn't really a blockbuster, was it? Cooley High, I love that film. Definitely not a blockbuster. But name one bigger than Jaws, though. Rocky Horror was, I guess, decent, but The Exorcist, I think, is the closest. Yeah, Star Wars was 77, so that's a bit late. Exorcist was 73 or 74. Okay. Amityville Horror, classic. Definitely a classic. What's our 78? Oh, 78. Okay. I'm leaning between Exorcist and Star Wars. I mean, Exorcist and Jaws. I'm leaning between those. If Exorcist was before Jaws, we might have to go with Exorcist. But that's a debate. What's bigger, Exorcist or Jaws? Y'all let me know. I mean, I guess technically we can look at the statistics, ticket sales and all of that stuff, but I think it's more cultural. What had a bigger cultural impact, Which one were people talking more about? It's a tough one. Yeah, gotta go with Jaws, right? I mean, it was huge.
And yet sometimes in Hollywood, after fierce rains and winds have swept the skies clean, the Egyptian blue appears...
Ooh, speaking of Exorcist, you guys recognize this right here, right? Isn't that Pazuzu? I think that's Pazuzu. That was the spiritual, or this demon spirit that possessed the girl in Exorcist. Pazuzu, right? All connected. Wow, what timing. As we are literally just talking. Look at that. That's Pazuzu.
After fierce rains and winds have swept the skies clean, the Egyptian blue appears over the palm trees like a vision. The hulking, obsolete sound stages like secretive tombs ever present. And we can't imagine what drew the ambitious and reckless men here an age ago.
All right. What happened to yesterday's recording? It should be up. I got a notification that they blocked it in some territories. I don't know why. Yeah, Pazuzu. It wasn't that interesting how that literally was Pazuzu that they're showing there. And that was they did that on purpose. I got blocked in some territories. I'm not sure why. I don't think we showed anything like super copywritten, but yeah, Godfather for sure has to be up there. But Jaws was like a family kind of movie. It wasn't a family movie, but I mean, kids were going to see it. Um, Jaws was just, I think, the first real blockbuster for sure. But of course, it is a debate. But I can't help but think about it. Yesterday is up. Okay, I did get a notification that they blocked it in some territories, but that's usually only like a couple countries. So unless you're in like Russia or something, I think you could see it. It's not on Rumble. We didn't stream on Rumble, but I'm gonna be putting everything up on Rumble. I'm just gathering all the files, and going through the uploading process is gonna take me a bit, but yeah, pretty much Jaws. Yeah, we got to go with Jaws. Jaws saved Hollywood because it was rather quiet from about 69 to say 75. Though there were great films, it wasn't. We didn't have these blockbuster things like these massive Hollywood films that we would get, like in the 80s, for instance. It was crazy. Now, that point he had made about, you pretend you're some god or some spirit, and then you become it. So let's look at some of these Hollywood clips or these actors describing this. And I have one here, someone we've been touching on a bit on this show, Denzel Washington. So let's check this out. You guys are probably, especially those who are part of the Unplug 'Em fam, you guys are familiar with these clips here.
How are so many of Hollywood's most famous actors and actresses able to be so amazingly effective and convincing in their performances?
That guy was so electrifying that it came through the television.
How is it that they can move us to laughter,
Yes,
tears, or
because
anger
people
at
at
the drop of a hat?
TVs.
Are they truly gifted with
Spot on. That's exactly what Kenneth was saying. He was like, that's pretty much what killed Hollywood, at least old Hollywood, was televisions. Yep. And TV shows, sitcoms. For those that remember on the Nightline show back in 2019, we did a couple episodes on the development of sitcoms and how it really interjected a lot of new ideologies into the culture. We looked at a lot of the old 70s sitcoms into the 80s, and game shows, soap operas, these types of things really transformed our content viewership and content creation of the time. And not until the blockbuster film did Hollywood start taking off again, because television, the small screen, as they call it, right, started to be what's most important. Again, back to the convenience of content creation, similar to how now we have phones to interact with, and instead of sitting in front of a television at home. That's, stationary. Interesting how things develop.
natural talent, as many suggest?
You see this and you're dazzled by their talent.
Do they possess a creative streak of genius that is unknown to most men? Or unknown to most men, are they in fact possessed? Is it possible that these actors and actresses are possessed by demonic spirits who have a specific agenda to fulfill? Oscar award-winning actor Denzel Washington told 60 Minutes exactly how he brings forth his best performances.
Basically what I did was got on my knees and sort of communicated with the spirits. And when I came out, I was in charge.
Powerful scene.
Powerful scene. I couldn't have acted that. I couldn't have written that down and made a decision to play that.
What, are you gonna smoke that?
Nope, you are.
Hell if I am.
Yeah. You're Jesus freak. You're Jesus freak.
The one-woman entertainment empire known as Oprah has strong affiliations with the demonic realm.
And Oprah. Oprah played a big part too. Oprah, Donahue. What's his name? What was it? Geraldo? What was it? Geraldo? What? He got his nose busted up. What was his name? Gerardo or something? That guy? Yeah. They transformed content creation. Those three right there. And then, we got into the more lower budget, Ricky Lakes and Jenny Jones. That was more my thing. I was more into Geraldo. There we go. Ricky Lakes and Jenny Jones and what was his name? Richard Bay. Yeah, of course. Jerry Springer. Yeah, Geraldo Rivera. There we go. That really changed things for a minute. Yeah, Geraldo Rivera. There we go. Geraldo, is it Geraldo? Geraldo? Yeah, Geraldo. Yeah, Geraldo Rivera. There we go. Geraldo. Yeah. Sally Jesse Fields. Yeah. Uh-huh. I used to like Phil Donahue because I like Phil Donahue because he had serious topics. And I guess though I was a goofy kid, I had a serious side to me, and I liked serious like topics and talks and more deeper angled things, like more political stuff. And I remember I used to like watching Donahue for that because he would have more, I don't know, I guess higher brow conversations. He'd have political people on, and just cultural stuff was pretty interesting on the Donahue show. I enjoyed it quite a bit as a young kid. I never watched Oprah, to be honest. I never really watched Oprah. I did watch Ricky Lake, though. I did like Ricky Lake. She was fun. Jenny Jones was fun. I used to, because Jenny Jones used to have a lot of teens on. So I identified with it because I went to school with a lot of kids like that. So I used to watch Jenny Jones quite a bit. Yeah, Donahue was, man, he was the man. I love me some Donahue, man. He used to really get it in. His shows were cool. Yeah, the Israelites, Farrakhan, KKK. I mean, Donahue had it cracking. And not in any Jerry Springer type way. It was actually very sophisticated in comparison, right? For as sophisticated as daytime television could get. Yeah, and then there was Robert, what was it? Downey? What was that guy? Downey, smoking his cigarettes all the time. Morton Downey Jr., there we go. He was kind of fun, obnoxious. You guys named some other ones. Montel, of course. Montel Williams. I didn't watch a whole lot of Montel here and there. I did have my Jerry Springer phase, of course, and Maury. Maury Povich, he didn't really get... He came up once he did the father thing, and that was a bit later from my memory, because he was around for years, but he didn't really come up until Jerry started going down, and he came in, you are not the father, that whole thing in like the early 2000s, I remember, very late 90s. Geraldo, that's it, not Geraldo, Geraldo, yeah. Yeah. Now it's clicking. Tempest Bledsoe. Hey, that was Tempest. Wasn't that the daughter from Cosby Show? She had a show, something like that. Maury Povich, yeah. Arsenio Hall. Now I loved Arsenio Hall. My whole family, we will watch Arsenio Hall together. That was like something we would love doing. Arsenio Hall, because he had all the stars on, the artists, the musicians, and he just had a cool show. It was just a cool show. From the aesthetics, he had the band going, and Arsenio Hall was a likable dude. He was just a likable guy, very entertaining, funny, not too over the top. Yeah, Richard Bay. I used to love Richard Bay. They'd have little game shows and stuff. It was mixing like Richard Bay was like Ricky Lake mixed with Double Dare. It was like mixing Ricky Lake with Double Dare. It was fun. Good times. Yeah, Vanessa from the Cosby Show. Yeah. I never watched Wendy Williams. I was like very recent. Wendy Williams came out like what, 2010s maybe? I don't know. I never watched her. I reported on some things, when she was glitching out. She's real sick right now too, man. I should be sensitive to that. She's really dealing with some things right now. So, prayers to her. She has some cognitive things going on, I think. But yeah, never watched her. Yeah, whoop whoop. Yeah, I love Arsenio. Robert Kilroy Slick. I'm not familiar with that one. Oh, Living Color. Yeah, that was another show me and the family would get together and watch. We used to always watch in Living Color. Married with Children, Simpsons, those are our shows. That what was it? TGIF Fridays, right? Yeah, I used to love the TGIF. Man, that was family time. We get together, family matters. Uh, yeah, man, good times. 90s was all about television. It was. We was all glued, at least during certain periods. There's a thing. Throughout the day, we're working, we're out, we're doing stuff, being in the world, and then we have our shows that we come home and watch. Yeah, Family Ties. I used to love Family. Well, I wasn't a huge fan of Family Ties, but I did watch it. I really enjoyed man, honestly, I liked so many shows. Step by Step. Man, I love Step by Step. That was one of my favorites. Actually, I really like that one. Wonder Years for sure. So even like Small Wonder and some of these more obscure ones, I really enjoyed. It was just that was the era of like sitcoms. They just don't do it like that anymore. And they were pretty innocent. Yeah, Fresh Prince was probably one of the best. And I was into like the Fresh Prince, what was it? Oh, man, A Different World, probably one of my favorites. A Different World was great. 227, I used to watch that quite a bit. 227. I even watched The Golden Girls. I really enjoyed The Golden Girls. I'm not fronting. I really enjoyed The Golden Girls. I thought it was a great show. Oh, Rock. I mean, Rock was an elite show. It's above the term sitcom. Rock was like an art piece. Rock was an amazing acting, great scripts. It was like upper echelon of sitcoms. It was more dramatic, but Rock I hold at a higher standard for sure. Alf, love Alf. One of my favorites. 21 Jump Street for sure. Great show. Melrose Place, I watched it. I like 90210 a little better, but then Melrose Place came in and, it was a nice option. Facts of Life was good. Yeah. I did watch a little Seinfeld. Took me some time to really get into it, but I really enjoyed Frasier. I used to watch Frasier like, man, religiously. Frasier was one of my favorites. I was probably the only one out of my friend group that liked it, but that was definitely one of my favorites. I used to watch Frasier all the time. Friends, I didn't really get into Friends. I watched it here and there. Punky Brewster when I was little. Yeah, I used to watch Punky Brewster. That was a great show. I really enjoyed it. The Wire, I know this is wild, but I've never seen the whole thing. I've only seen a few episodes, and I'm kind of looking forward to sitting through the whole thing and really soaking it in because I know it's one of the greatest series or what have you. Entourage was actually pretty cool. I did watch it. Home Improvement, classic. Facts of Life, Different Strokes, definitely regularly watched them. Home Improvement, yeah, that was a great show. I used to watch that quite a bit. Yeah, I didn't really get into the Friends whole lot. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I liked it. It was okay. It just wasn't like one of my shows that I gotta watch Friends, Yeah, Frasier, to this day, I love Frasier. Like, I'll watch a Frasier episode anytime. Just turn it on, I'm watching. It's just funny stuff. Breaking Bad, yeah, probably one of the greatest series ever, for sure. Seinfeld was annoying. Yeah, it took me a while to really get into it, man. Over time, it kind of grew on me a little bit, but yeah. I like certain characters, like, the short guy and the tall, goofy dude. They were funny. Even the girl, she was funny too. I never liked Seinfeld, the main guy. I can't get into him. It's just something about him. It just turns me off. Married with Children was definitely one of the top for sure. Family Guy over Simpsons. Oh, that's fighting words right there for some corners of the internet. Oh man, I'm not even going there. Family Guy's funny. It's good. Aside from all the political stuff, it's good. But I don't know, Simpsons. I'm not even gonna step down that that battlefield. Yeah, I appreciate them both for different reasons. Oh, Mama's Family. Oh, that was like one of my mom's favorite shows. We used to watch that together all the time. Yeah, Mama's Family. You better believe it. I was watching me some Mama's Family. Oh man, what was the son's name? Bubba? 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 What? I used to love that show, man. Damn, I forgot all about that. Mama's Family. I forgot all about that. What a great show. You know, that was actually a spin-off of a show called like Marge or what was it called? Man, I can't remember, but Mama, she was younger, I believe. It was like before my time. I never really watched it, but Mama's Family was actually a spin-off of a prior show she starred in. It was Marge or something. I can't remember. But I found that out later, and I just went back and kind of did some research because I like researching media history. And when I look back at, say, the 70s sitcoms, wow, it's just such an interesting set of shows and connections. And you discover that so many of these shows are connected, whether it be through directors or actors, spin-offs, cool little, like, what do they call them? Goose eggs or whatever. Give Me a Break, yeah. That was a good one, for sure. Silver Spoons, yeah, I love Silver Spoons. Charles in Charge was another one I really liked. The Carol Burnett Show, was that what it was called? I thought it started with an M. Maude. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, Yehuda. Maude. Yes, that was the show. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Mama's Family was a spin-off of the Maude show. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Something just popped up in my head. If my memory serves, I thought that was pretty interesting. Ally McBeal? You know, I never watched Ally McBeal. I don't think I ever saw an episode of Ally McBeal. It was real big though. I remember like when I was in high school. Or was Good Times a spinoff of Maude? Maybe that's what I'm getting confused about. Okay, Jason, maybe that's it. I knew something, but wasn't she in Maude? Wasn't she Maude? The woman that plays Mama on Mama's Family? Okay, so it's Good Times. And Mama's Family is a spinoff of Carol Burnett's show. Okay, so I'm getting mixed up here. My two dads. I like the bulging eyes you got after that because it's like, damn. Will we admit that it was a really good show, knowing that it was propaganda? Because it was kind of entertaining, man. I did watch My Two Dads. Innocently, by the way. The Real World. Yes, I would love to do a breakdown of The Real World because I watched every season, man. I was all about it. I really was into The Real World. That would be fun. MASH. You know, MASH was a bit too mature for me. I remember as a kid, it would come on after Three's Company. I will never forget right when the Three's Company, which is my favorite sitcom, by the way. Three's Company is if I could pick one sitcom to sit and watch, like say you have to sit in a room for 48 hours and you could pick one sitcom to watch. There's only one you could pick, just one, and you have to watch it for 48 hours straight. I'm picking Three's Company, period. But yeah, MASH was a bit too mature for me. I remember it would always come on right after Three's Company. I would hear that song. I'm just like, okay, where's the toys? Where's, what am I doing now? That would be my cue. Right when I hear, and again, I was young. I had to be 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, something like that. I just remember that. I hear that music. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. It was a bit mature. And, it was like war-based. It wasn't my thing. I was a kid. Yeah, it wasn't my thing. It was a bit depressing, the intro music, a little bit. Yeah, it did give me a weird vibe, a weird feeling. Yeah, Three's Company. That's number one, period. Number one. Best sitcom ever made. And it has a great history. And if you look into There's documentaries on it. There's like made for television movies based on the history of the show. Very fascinating if we want to get a little nerdy about it. Oh man, like the drama was what's her name? Susan Summers, and the cast, and how she wanted to be the star, and they was like, nah. You know, they replaced her. Like, it's crazy, man. Daria, I did like Daria. That was an MTV show. Yeah, I did like Daria. It was now Daria was a spinoff of Beavis and Butthead, I believe, right? Another show I did like. Bosom Buddies. I never watched it. Never watched Bosom Buddies. Very, aware of it, but never watched it. Perfect Strangers, which kind of reminds me of Bosom Buddies. I didn't really like Perfect Strangers. I watched it here and there. Usually I watch it if I had no choice. If I was at someone's house and, they're watching it and I'm just stuck there, and I'd watch it. Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, that was like mid-70s, right? That was a pretty cool show. I did actually like watching that when I was real young. We used to watch it at the babysitters, Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, I did enjoy that. That's crazy, Gold Brooks. Listen, those are like my two favorite shows. Aside from, of course, some of the greats like Fresh Prince and Family Matters, but like Frasier and Three's Company, man, so good. So good. So good. And they're all great for different reasons, right? Buffy and Angel. I never got into the WB like that. I just didn't. A lot of those shows are very popular for a time, but I didn't really get into them. Silver Shadows, isn't that like a vampire series from the 60s? No, that's Dark Shadows. I'm thinking of Dark Shadows. I'm not sure what Silver Shadows is. Dallas, huge, very, very popular show. Never watched it, ever. I believe my mom used to really like Dallas. She used to watch that. But again, I think it was a bit mature for me at the time. Yeah, Dynasty, that was my mom's favorite show. She was like a Dynasty head. She was all about Dynasty, man. I used to have to sit and watch it with her sometimes because I just was sitting there. Dark Shadows, yeah. My grandmother used to always talk about Dark Shadows. R.I.P. Yeah. Mr. Ed. Yeah, when I was very young, I used to, because see, my mom was really into a lot of these older shows, and there was a I think it was Nick at Night. I think it might have been called Nick at Night. There was this like channel, and they would play all these old shows, and I would sit and watch them with her. And yeah, that was one, Mr. Ed. Man, all those shows. What's it? I Dream of Jeannie. I Love Lucy, all that stuff. I came up as a young kid watching all those shows. I watched a lot of that stuff growing up. I watched a lot of very old things because my mom was really into that stuff. And they still played it, even though it was like, what do you call it? Discontinued, they still played it. 6 Feet Under? Yeah, I remember 6 Feet Under. Seventh Heaven? No, never watched Seventh Heaven. That Seventh Heaven was like Dawson's Creek, man. I just wasn't into those shows. They were too dramatic and kind of just sappy for me. I don't know, man. They were like too clean. I don't know if that's the right term, but they were just so polished, and I don't know, man. Dawson's Creek and Seventh Heaven, just those two shows, I was like, never, ever show me these shows, please. They were like perfect. I didn't like them. And they were hardcore dramatic. Jessica Biel, yeah. I definitely watched me a little bit of Jessica Biel for certain reasons. I'm going to be honest. Yes, I did. Yeah, I Love Lucy. I used to really enjoy that one. James Bond. Yeah, I did watch some James Bond. Baywatch, for sure. Always watched a little bit of Baywatch here and there. Wasn't like a big fan, but I watched Seventh Heaven because I didn't have cable. I just couldn't sit through it. I just never could really get into those shows. I just could not do it. 21 Jump Street, yeah. One of my favorites. I used to love that. And I remember there was a show called like Brooklyn something that was similar to that much later, years later. But I like those kind of shows. Yeah. The Munsters, yep. My mom used to watch those shows. I used to all that old black and white stuff. I was watching that stuff. Yeah. Adam's Family. Yep. All of it. Jag. Never watched Jag. Nah. I didn't watch Jag. I didn't like military stuff. I don't know. I didn't really care for military based or military themed shows. I like military themed movies, but not necessarily shows. It just never really. Heat of the Night, yeah. Yep. Both my parents really liked. My mom was more the TV watcher. My dad really, I don't ever remember him watching TV, but they both used to like that show. We used to watch that as a kid. It was a bit dramatic for me as a kid, honestly, because there was a lot of racial kind of context to it. But I did enjoy it. Yeah, MASH was just boring. For me, it was boring. I couldn't do it. Yeah, Chips, another one of these 70s cop shows. I used to like that one, yeah. Yeah, Quantum Leap. Yeah, I referenced Quantum Leap in the last Future Shock episode. That I did watch Quantum Leap. Pretty cool show. Columbo. No, I never watched Columbo. I remember my 6th grade teacher, she used to love Columbo, and she would always make references to him, and she would always like do these funny metaphors and references to Columbo in her like her teaching. I guess you could, I don't know, what do you call that? It's not necessarily anyhow. She used to always reference Columbo. My 6th grade teacher, I remember. And Burt Reynolds. I don't know if that was even appropriate. It was obvious. It was like this girl is like thirsting over this actor in class. It was like constantly talking about Burt Reynolds. So funny. Yeah, Matlock. I remember it. Didn't watch it, but I remember it. This is fun, man. It's cool because you guys are just throwing out all these great shows. I don't know. It's fun. Perry Mason, classic. I wasn't like super into it, but I did watch it time to time. MacGyver was one of my favorites. Yeah, I had so many favorites, but MacGyver was definitely super cool. Just, I was always looking forward to seeing how he was going to figure things out. Just the whole problem-solving element really attracted me. I was like, dude, this guy's amazing. He can do anything. He can get out of anything. I love MacGyver. I always wanted to kind of have those skills. Yeah, I never liked Star Trek, honestly. I liked sci-fi stuff like films, but I I wasn't a Trekkie. It never was my thing, ever. I don't know what it is, because I love Star Wars. That was like one of my favorite movies for a period, and I still love Star Wars. I've always liked sci-fi stuff, but nah, never liked Star Trek or anything like it on TV. That 70s show was a bit later, but I watched it a lot. I watched the 70s show a lot. I liked the cast. Script was funny. Highlander. I didn't watch Highlander, actually. I did like the movies, though. The Highlander movies were awesome, especially part 1. I didn't watch the show, though. Hitchhiker. I watched Hitchhiker, though, back in the day, for those that remember that show. Hitchhiker was my thing. I used to love Hitchhiker. I sampled that theme song in some of my old videos in the past. The Hitchhiker theme song. Okay, yeah, I don't even know how I forgot this. Shout out to Protrude. Yeah, Mr. Belvedere, one of the greatest. Mr. Belvedere was by far one of the greatest shows. And Mr. Belvedere, Alf, what else? Silver Spoons. Man, I used to love Mr. Belvedere. What a great show. What a perfect show. What a funny and likable guy. I mean, he was just such a likable dude. Mr. Belvedere. Out of This World. Oh, Joaquin. Damn, bro. Yes. She did the little thing where she would put her fingers together and stop time. That to me was like the coolest thing. I was like, man, I wish I could do that. There's so many applications for that skill. Yeah, I used to love Out of This World. That was that show, right? She could control time. I used to think she was cute too. Yeah, I used to love that show. Man, I forgot all about that. I forgot all about that. Damn. I was like, damn, she's cute and she could stop time. That's wild. Yeah, I used to love that show. I literally forgot all about that. Yeah, Kanga, he was kind of like a super big time, like, what is it, sex symbol. Yeah. Flipper, never got into Flipper. That's like 60s, maybe even 50s. Flipper, that's old school. Yeah. I never watched Flipper. Thundercats, I was real young, but yeah, Thundercats was legit. Watched it all the time. Um, what was it? What was the name of that? Let me see here. Oh, Head of the Class. Joaquin's got the bangers. Yes, Head of the Class. I totally forgot about that one too. Great show. Kanga, he's talking about Out of This World. That was where the girl could control time. Such a good show. I used to watch. Anytime I could watch that, I would try to watch it. I really liked that show. Yeah, Head of the Class. Wow, so many great shows, man. Sliders. I've never heard of Sliders. Huh. Never heard of that one. Let's see. Yeah, old animated shows for sure. All of them for the most part. We had great cartoons in the 80s. Toxic Crusaders, was there a show? I remember those were movies. I don't remember the shows though. Greatest American Hero. Yeah, that was with the actor. What's his name? Can't remember his name, but he starred in the film House, 1986, one of my favorite kind of like horror comedy movies, House. He starred in that film, and I think he was the lead in Greatest American Hero, if my memory serves correctly. And that was a bit before my time, and my family, they didn't really watch that show, so I wasn't really exposed to it, but I'm familiar with it. Yeah. Laverne and Shirley, yeah, that was one of my mom's favorite shows. I used to watch it because she watched it religiously. So yeah, I was, and she used to like Taxi, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, all those shows I used to watch like back to back. Yeah, yeah, we are showing our age, aren't we? Yeah. Lassie, no, didn't watch Lassie. Pinky and the Brain, yeah, that was Cartoon Network, I think. A little later, late 90s, I think. I watched it here and there. I like Ren and Stimpy. I used to watch, I think Ren and Stimpy was Cartoon Network. I'm not sure what Pinky and Brain, where they were at. Brewster's Place, that sounds so familiar. But I can't, the Bob Newhart show. I used to like that show too, actually. It was a subtle show, the Bob Newhart show, but I did enjoy it. I did watch it, yeah. Especially when I got a little older, I started to appreciate it more. Bob Newhart show. Lesser known, but I did enjoy that show. Wonder Years was probably one of the best, yeah. Wonder Years was one of the best. It's not really a sitcom. It's this, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a movie show kind of thing. Just the way it's shot like a movie, kind of. But I was very influenced and moved by Wonder Years coming up. Yeah, Wonder Years was all-time great, for sure. And for all of us that watched it, we all had a subtle crush on Winnie. It just came with the territory, It was just done so well, you couldn't help but like the girl. The way they did the whole thing, and you rooting for what's his name? Gosh, what was his name? Kevin? No, not Kevin. I'm thinking of Home Alone, Kevin. What a great show. Well, just a wholesome show, man. With good messages, too. You know. Starsky and Hutch, yeah. A little before my time, but I did watch it. Yeah. Johnny Bravo. I love Johnny Bravo. That's funny. I really like Johnny Bravo, honestly. I was a little old, actually. I was probably too old. Yeah, Ben Savage. I was probably too old. Fred Savage. There we go. Fred. Yeah, Fred Savage. I was a little too old to watch it, probably, at the time. But yeah, I used to watch, because I do have a little kid in me, so I could still be entertained by that kind of stuff. I watched Johnny Bravo. I really liked, Johnny Bravo was cool, but I really liked Dexter's Laboratory. That was my show right there. Dexter's Laboratory. That was funny. Saved by the Bell, another one of these greats, you know, along with Wonder Years. One of these just straight up classics that everyone, I'm sure, liked. I can't see how you wouldn't like Saved by the Bell. It's just such a great show. Little House on the Prairie, classic. I didn't really watch it, though. It was just too boring for me. And I was young, too, so I was like, no, it's boring. I judged it unfairly. When I got older, I was like, oh, it's actually pretty wholesome. Partridge Family. They were Partridge Family. That was the Partridge Family. Oh, that was like, gosh, Partridge Family. Weren't they like a band? Boring, gasp. Was it the Partridge Family, like a singing group, family band or something like that? I remember it used to come on after the Monkees or something. I remember that, yeah. I do remember that. We're not even getting into the clips. This is because this is fun, but we should just let's get through some of these clips quickly here, because I do enjoy chilling in the chat here. But for our viewers that aren't in the chat, are probably like, okay, where's the clips? Just to round out the points for the show. And here's Beyonce talking about her altar.
So, like, when you're getting ready to go on stage and perform, does Sasha Fierce, when does she show up?
Usually when I hear the crowd, when I put on my stilettos, when, like, the moment right before when you're nervous and that other thing kind of takes over for you. Then Sasha Fierce appears, and my posture and the way I speak and everything is different.
But no, is it like a process that happens too? Like you were talking about the high heels, like once the lashes go on and the makeup and all that stuff.
It's kind of like when I do a movie, becoming the character. Once you put on the wig and once you put on the clothes, you walk different. It's kind of this character that I've created over the years.
And how is Sasha Fierce different than I am?
Well, I know, you know.
Interesting how she said I am like that. I don't know, man. I didn't really like that. Maybe I'm misreading it, but coming out of this witch's mouth, I don't like that.
I am.
Well, I know, you know, definitely.
And how
over the years.
And how is Sasha Fierce different than I am?
Well, I know, you know, definitely wearing that bodysuit. I could never walk out here and do that.
Does Sasha Fierce ever go home? Like,
sometimes, but I not often, only on special occasions.
She ever show up she shows up sometimes at the house.
But definitely when I'm nervous or whenever I have to perform, whenever I have to do choreography or something that's difficult, and it's no different from anyone else. I feel like we all kind of have that thing that takes over when it's so.
Now, some might agree with this and be like, yeah, I think you guys are reading a little bit too much into it. Everybody has this type of thing you go into when you're under pressure. Is that true? Does everyone have that? And is it to the degree that you're experiencing it to where it feels like you're someone else? I don't think so. You talking about you take on some different persona. I mean, there's something us normal people have called, you know, maybe confidence or, you know, perseverance that kind of helps you out. But nah, I don't know. Nah, I don't consider them the same. Here's another.
When I performed Crazy in Love at the BET Awards, it was almost like my coming out.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my girl, Beyonce!
was very nervous, of course. And I remember when they told me I was performing on BET, in my mind, I saw the set immediately. I said, I want something big. I want something that says I'm here.
You see, just that and that energy and that attitude is Luciferian. It's just like, it's basically saying like, I want to be the greatest. I want to be God. Like, and it's, I find it fascinating how so many of these actresses and famous people have this. And it's almost as if they're all being led by a type of Luciferian spirit that unites them and even brings them to this position. So you got to have that kind of spirit over you to make it this far, I believe.
Beyonce. And I drew it out. I drew out the ramp. I drew out the boxes for me and my girls. I drew out the lift right in the O. It just so happened that O was right in the center of my name for me to come down. I knew the dance. I knew about the pumps. I saw all of that in my head before it happened. And it's great when you visualize something and it actually comes to life. Come on.
Yes, Shawana, I want to be like the Most High. There we go. Okay, we're gonna get hit for this music. Come on. Why y'all playing it this long?
In full effect. If you ain't there, ain't nobody else to impress. It was way better than I expected. And Sasha was in full effect. Sasha is my alter ego. And when people see me, sometimes I think that when they meet me and they speak with me, they're expecting Sasha. And I'm really kind of shy, and not really shy, but more reserved, and nothing like Sasha.
I mean, that's just weird. Like, why would you even... Oh, that's a creepy little freeze frame. Why would you want to admit that, man?
I guess I wouldn't be very entertaining on the stage. So Sasha comes out, and she's fearless. You know, she can do things that I cannot do when I'm in rehearsal.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Why would you want to admit that? Like, you're just telling people, well, those that understand, we know this is possession, but people who might not understand, you're just telling them you got multiple personalities. Why do you think that's okay? Because she's wealthy and famous, and she thinks she's superior. She thinks she's godlike, so she doesn't care. See, that's that superiority, that Luciferian spirit.
I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
Whoa.
And I knew that was gonna be my coming out night for the BET Awards.
Wow. Okay, you heard it, and I know many of you have seen these clips before. Brother Theo has done amazing breakdowns of these, but I'm sure there's many listeners that have never seen these things. So yeah, this this is wow. She said something came down and over me. That's like invocation right there. She's like invoking a spirit. And she says she reached up and looked up. That's crazy to me. It's like Lucifer fell right into her lap. And then Nicki Minaj, I don't even want to look at her. I got a clip of her, but I don't even want to look at her. She's just creepy, man. And she got an alter ego named Roman or something. Maybe Skits, yeah, there's something. I mean, to me, it's a possession. This is a demonic spirit. But if you were to say that to someone, a secular person, yeah, Sasha's stupid. Yeah. If you were to say that to a secular person, they'd probably consider something like that. And then there's Marilyn Monroe. I wasn't aware of this. And I've seen this documentary before, but I don't remember seeing this clip. So let's look at Marilyn Monroe just to harken back to old Hollywood.
But I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive.
How about this character, Marilyn Monroe? Heard of her? Okay, heard of her? Do you know what's really interesting? No matter what age, other than somebody that's really, really little, most people have heard of Marilyn Monroe. This person is massively famous. So here's a little video clip with Marilyn Monroe.
Monroe attributed her ability to affect the public to other entities that would inhabit her and take her over. She was known for entering into deep trances before each scene. One of Monroe's close personal psychics recalled how she would draw attention from the spirit world, asking for their guidance.
When she saw a camera, any camera, she lit up and was totally different. The moment the shot was over, she fell back into her not very interesting position. And I don't know how to explain that.
That's almost verbatim what Beyonce says about Sasha
that's
Fierce.
exactly what
She's
I was
like,
thinking of.
I'm more reserved.
Sasha is my alter ego. And when people see me, sometimes I think that when they meet me and they speak with me, they're expecting Sasha. And I'm really kind of shy, and not really shy, but more reserved, and nothing like Sasha. She can do things that I cannot do when I'm in rehearsal. I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do.
The second that the cameras turn on, she's someone else. The second you turn them off, she's totally someone else. And he says, I can't explain that.
It's interesting how they attach this man to these people. You're saying the same spirit guide for the previous person is the same
Mae
one
West.
for
Yeah, that was Kenny Kingston. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Isn't that
intentional.
interesting?
Yeah.
These guys are around a lot of these dirty, spiritualistic things. That's why we see so much of the New Age. If the stuff that's being written is coming from these psychics and these people who are communicating with spirits, then what's the message that we're getting when we sit in a dark room and stare at a blinking light, right? Listen to what Marilyn Monroe says. Jacqueline Hyde, I'm more than two. I'm so many people, they shock me sometimes. I wish it was just me. She was tormented by the voices that she heard in her head, all the communication.
And I can relate to that. You get to a point where you allow so much in your mind, and it's like, who's the real me? And it's like, I'm just trying to discover myself. And then when I come out of it, you see, all these different thoughts and emotions that would come over you that they weren't me.
Yeah.
And it gets exhausting.
Right. And if you're opening up your chakras, you're opening up your third eye, you're opening your life to these spirits, they're just coming and flowing right into you. And then it's like confusing to you,
She was tormented, but that's just the devil being in character. For the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I come, the Lord comes to give life and to give it more abundantly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I like that clip. I like how they break that down. And I wasn't familiar with the extent of Marilyn Monroe. I found this clip here. This is Christian Bale. And some may say he's being tongue-in-cheek. He's being a little tongue-in-cheek with this. I don't know. No, I'm not. I'm not going to go with that. I think he's being straight up and honest. Truth in plain sight scenario.
Thank you to that geezer over there, Adam. He said, I've got to find somebody who can be absolutely charisma-free and reviled by everybody. So he went, that's got to be Bale. Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
Wow, straight up, he thanked Satan, and he coming off like he's being funny and ironic. I don't buy that. And now there's this very famous clip. You guys remember this? This is just background showing you guys the direct connection between Spiritism, classic Hollywood, and even our more modern times entertainment that has led us to this now digital, social media, internet, or online-based culture we have today. This is where it all comes from.
Name
used to be the byproduct of success, and now it's the ultimate goal. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there. Like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Like you're gonna end up on a one-way street, and it's going nowhere. Like that's just the truth. I've seen so many people like forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. It's really not worth it.
You ever look at music that you've written and look back at it and say, whoa, that surprised me?
I used to. I don't do that anymore. I don't know how I got to write those songs.
What do you mean you don't know how?
Well, those early songs were like almost magically written. Darkness at the break of noon, shadows even the silver spoon, a handmade blade, a child's balloon.
Eclipses both the sun and moon. To understand, you knew too soon. There's no sense in trying.
Try to sit down and write something like that. There's a magic to that, and it's not Siegfried and Roy kind of magic. You know, it's a different kind of a penetrating magic.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Ooh, that's spooky. I've seen that clip, I mean, hundreds of times. You know, being in the truth community for so many years, I've seen that clip hundreds of times. And it gives me the willies every time I hear it. Because he's so sincere. He's just so sincere when he's saying it. He's just like, hey, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. And it's, whew. And now let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. I'm not sure what year this is. It looks to be as if it's probably in the 70s. But let's go back to this clip where Bob Dylan addresses God and religion. I just think it's an interesting juxtaposition. And yeah, let's check it out.
Times when born-again Christianity, Orthodox Judaism, both those were important to you?
Yeah.
Or is it a broader thing for you?
No, I want to figure out what's happening, you know. And
so he's asking him, oh, so I've heard you've delved into, you know, Christianity and Orthodox Judaism as, you know, some type of religious pursuit or what have you.
So I did look into it all.
Did it make life easier?
Not necessarily, no.
Did it make it clearer?
Definitely made it clearer. This is a place you have to work certain things out.
What is it you do have to work out?
Your salvation. He may not even realize that's what he's getting at. But you have to work out your salvation. You have to choose whom you'll serve. And I think he was probably dealing with that, knowing the pact he made with the king of this earth, the prince of the air. So that's probably why he was looking into these different religions, especially Christianity, because he knows what he's dealing with. He's trying to work out his salvation, and he didn't succeed, obviously, as we just saw. Many, many years later, he looked rather defeated, knowing that he has a limited amount of time in this position of fame and in this life, and he sold out.
Definitely made it clearer. This is a place you have to work certain things out.
What is it you do have to work out?
Well, you have to work out where your place is and who you are. But we're all spirit. That's all we are. We're just walking, you know, we're dressed up in a suit of skin. And we're going to leave that behind.
Hmm. Very Gnostic, we're all just spirit, you know, walking around in this skin. Hmm. Yeah, I thought that was interesting to go back a little bit and to see what he was saying about religion. And obviously, he's confused. And he probably has Satan whispering in his ear, offering him the world and all of that. And he went for it. He just went for it, basically. So I think, yeah, that's it for today. I'm gonna jump in the chat here for a little bit. Before we get ourselves out of here. A complete unknown movie about Dylan was in theaters recently. Really? Wow. Yeah, Bob Dylan. Yeah, it didn't look like him, huh? He did look a little different there. It was an old clip. He always looks so tired and defeated, doesn't he? I don't know, man. He always looked like, well, obviously he was struggling with something, wasn't he? Like most of these famous people, like most of them, struggling, dealing with the world and their new life as objects, as vehicles for darkness. Let's see. So yeah, here we are. This whole, from Hollywood and in this the old school, the old Hollywood, the old world of very open spiritual incantations and symbolism and worship, all of that. As we move into this new this new type of media content creation culture online and now on application, social media, right? And it's TikTok, it's Instagram and all of this. It's just a new version of this. But I think it's the darkness, the spiritism is much more hidden now. Now, maybe not to those of us that see it, pick up on the symbolism, see the nature. But people aren't as out in the open with it as much as they used to be. It's just an interesting kind of dynamic we're seeing between the two, especially some of these younger, very famous, very influential streamers and stuff. They don't even realize that they're working for Satan. They don't even realize it. And maybe some of them do. Maybe they've made some pacts too. Maybe they've sold their souls. We don't have evidence of it, but I wouldn't be surprised. I appreciate all you guys. Yeah, I'm glad you've been enjoying the new show. It's really a take on the old Nightline show. We used to do this. We'd have a few topics and we'd talk about them and just go back and forth with the chat and just have a chill, good time. And I've been really meaning to recreate that show, and finally was able to do it. So that's what we have here with the Wake Up Show. Something a little different, not as structured and detailed as the Future Shock podcast, and something where we could chat a little more and just kind of flow. We could just go where the wind blows if we feel like it, but then at the same time cover certain topics and stuff. But it also gives me an opportunity to present interests and ideas that don't really fit the main channel. Yeah, the night show was great, and I do miss streaming at night. It was fun. It's just now my schedule's so different. Like I'm up at 4:30 every morning, guys. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. So those that have a like an early morning schedule, you understand that your circadian rhythm changes. You know, your sleep patterns change. Like you change biologically in that sense, such that by 7:30 you're kind of getting ready for bed. Like I'm in the bed by 8:30 trying to sleep just so I can have enough sleep, you know, to have proper brain function and, you know, all the proper processes that go on in the body during sleep. You know, sleep is very important. Sleep might be the most important thing biologically, aside from diet, you know. Very important to get good sleep. And not just hours, but quality sleep, right? The right amount of REM, you know. So it's as much as I would love to do a night show, I can't, unless I would totally change my schedule, which I can't, you know, just I have so much going on. But yeah, I do miss the night shows. Those are fun. We would usually go on about 8 to like 10. Sometimes we went a little further to 11. That's Pacific time. Yeah, MASH, you know the deal, right? Getting up early, man, at a certain time, like say 7:30, 8 o'clock, you shut down. Like you literally shut down. It's hard to keep your eyes open. Yeah. I used to work night shift as a substance abuse counselor. Wow, what a position. Wow, I got a lot of respect for that. That's good work. That's hard work. Needed work. Wow. Mm. Yeah, a lot of respect for that. That had to be tough. A night shift as a substance abuse counselor. I mean, I guess as long as you're getting the proper rest, regardless of what hours of the day. I mean, early bird gets the worm. Yeah, that's what they say. And I've learned the older I get, going to bed earlier, I have more energy. I have more energy to get things done and to really be on point. I just get so much more done, and I'm able to do more actually, because realistically, after 8, a whole lot ain't going on. Not a whole lot's going on after 8 p.m. Generally speaking, sure there's things going on, but generally speaking, it's a good time to, you know, call it a night. Depending on your schedule, I know everyone has different stuff going on. But I'm functioning at a much higher level, going to bed early. And I used to work a swing shift for years. Like for 11 years, I worked a swing shift. So that was strange. Like I'd usually go to bed about 1 p.m. You know, get up, I don't know, 9-ish, 10-ish. That was a strange kind of shift. I did that for a long time. Yeah, over a decade. So it was hard shifting to early. But the older I get, the easier it is. Especially like after 40. I mean, it's very easy to go to bed early and get up early. When I was in my 20s, I could never do it. I was like a night owl. Up all night, out all night, sleeping all day. And I worked a swing shift at that time. So I was able to be out till 3 or 4 in the morning and sleep till 11, sleep to 12 if I wanted to. 4 hours of sleep. APX of sleep daily. What do you mean by APX? I've never seen that, unless it's a typo. Stay up late doing nonsense, right? Because you find yourself, you know, it's easy to do, especially today with these damn phones. I'm telling you, man, you mess around scrolling, you be up scrolling till 3 in the morning and be like, what am I doing? I need to be asleep. Approximately, okay. Approximately, my bad. 4 hours? Ooh, I can't function on 4 hours. Woo. Oh, man. My brain just won't work. I need at least 6. Well, no, 5. At bare minimum 5, and I could get going. But a good 7 or 8, I'm ready. That's what they say, Vape King. That's what the statistics say. I don't know how accurate they are, but yeah. I was a night owl pretty much most of my life until my 30s, yeah, mid 30s. Started switching it up. Had a career change and all that, so yeah. I go to bed early and then days comes on. Oh man. I know that's the hard part too. People might be living in different time zones, especially some of my listeners overseas. It's impossible for some of them to catch the live stream unless they get up crazy early or go to sleep really late. So I know it's tough, man. I guess that's one of the things with, this international kind of broadcasting that we're able to do now. It's just one of the things. But it works for some people. Some people, it actually works for them. Like I come on right when they wake up, or I come on and they're able to watch right before they go to bed. Like right when I'm finishing up, it's bedtime, so it works perfect for them. Hulk in the building, good to see you, bro. 4 hours is about my average. Interesting. Well, I guess it's a matter of condition, right? The body is very resilient. We adjust. So, and I've heard with certain types of diets, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I've heard with very like keto, certain types of diets, you can get less sleep and still function pretty well. So I know diet could probably help out, and then just getting used to it and learning how to adapt, and your body adapts to it. Yeah. So I can see that. You only need 4, really? Okay, all right. Hey, I'm no expert. I haven't done a whole lot of research in that, so I'm open to all types of different views on it. I just know for me, and there's a subjective element to sleep and sleep health, but for me, man, I got to get at least 6. I can function on 5. I can get work done on 5. I've done it many times, especially recently, but I'm looking at 6 to 7 minimum. And on a really good day, like last night, I got a straight 8. It was amazing. On a really good day, when I get 8, that's where I'm at my best, for sure. Oh, you only need 4 hours of REM sleep. Okay, yes, that I've read. Yeah, yeah, 4 hours of REM sleep, because we have cycles. I think there's 3 or 4 cycles, and throughout sleep you go up and down. You kind of oscillate or vacillate through the cycles. Yeah, and you want to get at least a good 4 of REM for sure. And I guess that extra 4, which would be 8, kind of staggers the continuum, right? Yeah, different waves, yeah. Wow, a 12-hour. I do 12 hours all the time here at the office, at my studio here. I do 12-hour shifts twice a week. So I switch between Tuesday and Wednesday, but Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday, I work from basically 6:30 to 6:30, and sometimes later. Sometimes I don't get out of here till like 8 p.m. So yeah, that's tough, man. And I couldn't imagine doing that 5 days a week. I mean, I'm assuming you probably did it 3 days a week or 4 days a week. But yeah, that's tough. 12 hours straight doing anything is hard. But I mean, I have to, trying to adjust time for my family and my other aspects of life. I have to have those days where I just get so much things done at once. Content for different channels, my reading, my writing, my research, editing stuff, member groups research, Patreon locals member stuff, and then research for these shows, research for Future Shark. And it's just a lot of stuff, so much stuff to juggle, but I'm getting better at it, that's for sure. I'm getting better. 2024 was rough, had a lot of transitional things going on, but it worked out because it prepared me for this year. So things are a lot better, I'd say, for sure. Mixing life with work, tough. I'm sure you all understand. Yeah, Mash. I mean, I appreciate the acknowledgement, but that I'm telling you, man, I really do's this. Like I'm in here for hours upon hours putting these things together, trying to formulate all of this. Did it for almost 10 years, never got used to them, made me grumpy. Oh, the 12-hour shifts, I bet. Yeah, I bet. 10 years. Yeah, I did about the same amount of time doing a swing. It wasn't 12, but still, it's like, yeah. I've worked 10 to 12-hour shifts every day for about 15 years. Woo! Shout out to Planet Firm. Getting it in. Wow. Respect. Salute to you. Yeah. An average day for me, let's see, like Mondays, I'll usually do like a 6-hour shift. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm here all day. Here at 6:30, I'm usually out by 6. Sometimes I'll try to get out by 3. Fridays, man, I'll do 15 hours on a Friday because we got the Future Shock Fridays show, but prior to the show, I'm working on other things. Reading sessions, writing sessions, just, business stuff. And then after the show, I'm editing till I get so tired I have to leave. So yeah, it's just nonstop. And then the weekends is like family time. Spend time with my family. And, other things. Hobbies, taking care of my body, working out, all that. Just try to balance everything. And depending on the week, things shift, You got to shift things around sometimes, but for me, it's all about systems, man. Getting systems going, breaking everything down in systematic order helps out a lot, especially when you got 100 things going on. I am still doing the health channel, Low Dog. I am. I'm thinking, February, we'll be jumping right back into that. Right back. I've been really so busy writing and working on these little documentaries and new elements of the show that I'm doing now. It's like something has to give, It's like when you're doing 10 things, a couple of them have to be put to the side for a little while and you return to them. And that's how the health channel's been. It's been tough getting it going. And to be honest, I've been really focusing on diet personally. I haven't been working out as much. I've been more so cleaning my gut for the past 3 months now. Just trying to get my diet really tight, get my gut as clean as possible before I start really hitting the weights hard again. Because once I start returning to lifting, I increase my calories, do a small calorie surplus, which, has an effect. And I do it clean. It's not like I do a dirty kind of surplus. But I always try to make sure my gut is as clean as possible prior to that, just so I don't suffer anything negative there. So yeah, and once I get really going on that, then I'm just gonna take you along with me on all of those journeys. So I'll be making content out of that. Yep, and that's what I've been working on, Yeshua, is this book. That's what I've been spending. Like every day, I'll spend at least 2 to 3 hours just writing. Yeah, and it's just my own, I guess, not being satisfied with what I'm doing and adding things, taking things out, changing the direction of things. It's just kind of an endless thing going. But yeah, reset the gut. Basically, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, got to get the gut right. The better shape my gut is in, I just feel better. Everything. The Waltons. What's the Waltons? I'm into the Waltons now. I haven't heard of this. Might be referring to shows. We were talking about shows earlier. You might be a little behind. Paul, I am kind of a workaholic, man. I gotta be honest. I kind of am. Like, I always have to be doing something. I can't be still. It's like so much to do, not enough time. That's like the story of my life. Like constantly chasing. It's a bit exhausting. But I don't know. Like I don't know anything else. So did I give up meat? No, no. Can't give up meat. I'm just not designed that way. I know some people do better without meat. I know I have family that are vegans and have friends, a couple friends that are vegetarian, and I'm not built that way. I can't function without meat. I would say that, Bari, but it's just to some degree I do. I am mechanistic. I guess that's why I rage against the machine so much because I see it in myself. Can be a bit systematic with things in life. Yeah, detoxing. Yeah. What's the name of the meat company? By your order form. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I can give you guys a bunch of meat companies. Actually, I can give you a website. Yeah, I could give you a website that allows you to search for local ranchers in your area. If you guys are interested in like creating some type of relationship with local ranchers, so you could order meat. That's what I do. Get it the clean way. For those that do eat meat, because I know everyone's different. The name of the meat company I mentioned before, I don't remember which one I named, honestly. That was a while ago. But I have a website, and it's not with me, and I can't remember it. But next week, I'll have it, and I'll give it to you guys. And it doesn't matter where you're at. It searches all of the nearest ranchers and stuff. And it's clean, you can get grass fed. It's really cool. It's a cool website. And it's affordable too. I think it's the best way to go. I've looked at my grocery like bills and I save a lot more money buying meat in bulk, getting it delivered. And I have another rancher that I drive out to and pick up a quarter beef from him. And I do that once a year. And then I have another company that I get a small portion of meat delivered to me. And both local, but they're out there and they're affordable. I spend so much more money, well, at least I used to, going to grocery stores. And, different strokes, but it's helped me out quite a bit. And I eat very clean, very minimally, veggies, meats, some rice here and there, some potatoes here and there. Keep it very, very simple. And you just spend less. Yeah, tomahawks. Whew, man. I haven't had one in quite a while. I have one in my freezer. I have one tomahawk. It's not a real big one. It's kind of small. It's a grass-fed one, so it's a little small. But man, it's sitting there. I'm saving it for a good occasion. But I love tomahawks. They're so fantastic on the grill. Oh man, so good. Probably my favorite. I mean, I like a lot of different types of steaks, but the tomahawk is just the perfect steak. It's just the perfect steak. Yeah, support your local everything. That's what I try to do. I mean, literally with everything that I can, at least that's available. And even for like veggies, if you can go to local farmers markets. Most cities have them now. Even if you got to drive out to it. I know it might be a lot for some people to do that once a week, but it's good. I think it's good. If more people did that, we'd strengthen our local ecosystems and economies. Yes, Michael, they are trying to go for the raw milk. I have a raw milk connection that I go through, and man, I'm praying every day. They don't take it away because we rely on raw milk, man. It's just really it's a great addition to our diet. And we've had this system for, I want to say, wow, 5 years now. Yeah, 2019 was when we first set it up. So yeah, it's great. My gut has never been better. My skin issues are gone. I used to have just, basic like eczema style type skin issues growing up and stuff, and it's healed all of those things. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'd be really upset if they go for our milk, man, and eggs too. I love eggs, man. I eat so many eggs every day. It's like a staple in our home. So I'm really praying that we're able to keep our way of food life, because they're going for it. They are. Yeah, get your own cow. Worst case scenario. Yep, and I've considered that. We've talked about it. We don't have the space for a cow, but we do have enough space to get some chickens. So I mean, if all fails, I'd get me some chickens and put them in the back. We have a little. I mean, isn't much space. It's not really made for that, but I'd turn it into a chicken coop. Damn it, if I have to. Yeah, it's hard to find in certain places for sure. Yeah. Raw milk is ridiculous expensive. Is it really? I guess it depends on where you're at. Mine is like dirt cheap. I can't even believe how much we pay for it. It's like nothing. When you look at these, like, I know some stores like Sprouts and some stores carry it now. It's crazy expensive. I mean, for half of a gallon, it's like $15. It's insane. But I know if you go direct, yeah, goat's milk. I had a goat's milk connection for some time, but they ended up shutting down. It was really unfortunate. I prefer goat's milk, actually. The flavor is just amazing. But yeah, they shut up, closed up shop. So yeah, and it was the only one. Goat's milk is very, very hard to, because there's different types of goats, right? There's like goats for milk, there's goats for meat, and it's just hard. At least where I'm at, it's hard to find. So goat's milk is amazing. But yeah, it's expensive in certain places, especially if it's these kind of like raw milk store brands. I forget the name of the one that's at Sprouts, but yeah, they have great sales. Sprouts, a great store. If you have one near you, it's a blessing. It's a great store. But the raw milk is crazy expensive. I mean, wow. But if you get a direct connect, literally from the cows off the farm, I mean, they sell it cheap, real cheap. My connect is dirt cheap. I think I'm paying about $3 a gallon. Yeah, about $3 a gallon. A little under that, like maybe $2.70 a gallon. Yeah, it's crazy cheap. Yeah, Sprouts is a great store. It is, man. It is a great store. Some things are a little expensive, but they have good sales, as Melody's Child mentioned. And I mean, the options, it's just great for those that are really health conscious and want to get things as clean and local. They got a lot of local products. Yeah, in the UK, it's a different story. Yeah, it's really difficult to get any farm food now here in the UK. Yes, yep, it's very true. I have some extended family in London, and yeah, I've heard this. And the crazy thing is, over there, man, especially even in the Netherlands, there's so many great farms and like cheese and dairies, especially in the Netherlands. It's delicious, man. It's great stuff. So much land out there. It's just unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, I'm not in the Bay, buddy. I'm not in the Bay, so I don't know anything about out there. You'd probably have to. There's actually there are some farms that do serve the Bay Area. I've heard of this. I'm not sure about raw milk though. I know meat for sure. Raw milk is tough though. The Bay is interesting because it's like its own little region that does kind of get cut off from a lot of systems, unfortunately, just where it's placed. Oh, Sweden, yes. Shout out to Sweden, man. Great farming, like cattle, meats, dairy, cheeses. Oh, man. But they're clamping down on these systems. It's horrible. It's such a shame. But it is bringing a lot of attention. People are getting hip to this. They're figuring it out. Their networks are being formed. Farms are starting to create new systems of communication and networks delivering straight to the people. It's just the policy is the danger. The policies that they're coming out with, where they're going to try to make this illegal. Holland, the biggest exporter of beef in the world. Whoa, I didn't know that. Not the biggest exporter. Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, north of the bay, Napa. Yep, you're right, Protrude. The further up north you go, that's where it's at. And south as well. I'm not familiar with the south, though, just the north for sure. Got to be up more northern, more rural California. Produce is sprayed at Sprouts? Really? I did not know that. Damn, man. Can we ever escape this stuff? Gosh. Man, I didn't know that. Hopefully it's not all Sprouts. Gosh. Sprouts by me isn't so great. We had 2, but 1 shut down. Oh, that's hard. That's tough. I guess it does depend, yeah. Where you're at and the Sprout that's there. Yeah, Texas is big in beef. Yeah, Texas, wow, huge. Big time cattle state. Some of the best barbecue too, for sure. I don't know, it's a big debate. I love barbecue. So I haven't been to Texas yet, but I've been to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, and I've had all those styles. And there seems to be this big barbecue battle between Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee. And they all kind of have their own style. I might be wrong here. I remember Tennessee being, man, there's one that's like kind of vinegar-based sauce. Barbecue sauce is like more vinegar-based. There's one that's like more mustard-based. And from what I've heard, Texas is more on the sweet end. Anyhow, I can't remember how the breakdown, but from my experience, South Carolina had the best barbecue. Now, it could have, and then there's Kansas too, yeah, for sure. And then it could boil down to just the place I went to was fantastic. Shout out to Grape Tea. We got a vegan in the house. It's all, man, I have very, very close family members that are vegan too, so I totally know the whole deal. Yeah, so South Carolina's mustard based. Okay. I went to a place in South Carolina. It was amazing. I couldn't even believe how good it was. Tennessee was really, really good too. But I haven't been to Texas yet, so I really want to go to Texas to go barbecue hunting because I love barbecue. The Memphis dry rub in Tennessee. Okay, so Tennessee's the dry rub. All right. I remember they all had these like different versions of. It was so interesting to me. Yeah, so I got to get to Texas, man. Tennessee barbecue is the best, Shawana. I only went to a few places, so I'm not a good judge for sure. But just based on the places I went, my favorite was South Carolina. I can't say which style I like best yet. I have to try them several times. Yeah, Texas brisket. That's definitely on the list. I had a list of a couple barbecue spots in Texas that I want to go to. I'll mention them. I got to get the list. I'll mention them to you guys. Let me know what you think about these spots. Yeah, I really want to go to Texas. I really do. It's a shame I haven't been there yet, honestly. Yeah, just to try barbecue. No, for real. I'm telling you, I'm not even kidding. I'll go somewhere just to eat. Like, I don't like the word foodie because it's just kind of corny, but I am kind of a foodie. Not in any like, you know, I don't know, not in any arrogant way, but I love trying different types of things. Yeah, see, Carolina says we have the best barbecue in Southern California or Southern Carolina. Yeah, I loved it. I had such a great time in SC, man. Such a cool spot. I was in Greenville for several days, and I cannot remember the others. Or what was that? I can't remember the other city I was in. Starts with a C. Is it Charleston? No, I can't remember. It was a while back. Not that long ago, honestly. I think that was 2020, 2021, 2022. And then I was in North Carolina. Great, amazing food there as well. A great barbecue, amazing barbecue. I was in. We were in this small little city near Raleigh, Raleigh. Yeah, Columbia. I think we were in Columbia. Yeah. And I was in this. I went to this little place called Waynesville. I think it was like very quaint little town. Yeah, we were in Charlotte. Went to Charlotte. That's what we were in Charlotte first, and then we went to this little quaint area called Waynesville. It was cool. I had a good time. It was different. It was a very interesting experience. Um, and then we went to this other little city near Raleigh. I think it's Raleigh. You say Raleigh. Raleigh, I think it is. Columbia is the capital. That's right. That's right. And we went to these small little areas. We wanted to see like the more lesser known spots. I can't remember. We were all over the place, jamming all around. And then we went to Atlanta, went down to Georgia, we went to Atlanta, went all over Atlanta, all the little different areas in Atlanta. Raleigh, okay, Raleigh, that's how you say it, Raleigh. There we go. Gotta eat. You gotta eat, yeah, for real. I love trying different stuff. Yeah, Melody Shaw, Japan is beautiful. It's my favorite place to visit. I'm trying to get back. I'd like to get back there this year. I doubt it's gonna happen. Fall would be perfect, but I don't think I can make that happen. But yeah, I love Japan. Been there several times. It's just such a great place. So unique. And the food is just out of this world. For those that like Japanese food, I really like it. Yeah, I want to get out to NZ. I want to get out to Australia eventually. I still haven't got to do that. It's just so hard to travel. Just now with everything that I'm doing, it's really hard. And it's expensive, Inflation is insane. Flights are crazy. Years ago, it was a lot easier to jump around. Yeah, Texas does not play about barbecue. That's why I'm really trying to go see that. I'm trying to check that out. Oh, wow, Ethiopia. Wow, that would be cool. I want to go to Egypt. I want to see the pyramids and all of that stuff. Ethiopia would be cool. I don't know a whole lot about Ethiopia, though. Oh, okay, Carolina. Yeah, there's a lot of small little towns out in the South. It's so cool, man. I really love it. It's just different. I'm from California, so I'm not used to that. Now, my family, we're all from the Midwest, so especially my family, they're from like the more outer parts of Illinois, way outside of Chicago. So it's a little bit like that. There is this kind of, like I'm talking like Kankakee. It gets a little country a little bit. But not really southern, but Yeah, when I went out to the south, I was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. It's just I don't know. I love all types of different cultures and living arrangements and environments. I love that stuff. Experiencing it. Yeah, the only thing about Japan is the language barrier is very tough to get around, and you want to plan things well. And getting around by way of train station is kind of difficult. It's just translation, lost in translation. That part is a bit intimidating. Some people are better at that kind of stuff than others, but you just want to be good at planning. Really know what you want to do and where you want to go, and plan out how you're going to get there, like to a T, and you'll have a much better time. It's not a place you can just go to and, whimsically get around. There's work. There's literal work you have to do. That part is important for sure. The South has changed certain parts. Races are mixing nicely. I have friends that have convinced me. Yeah, I was planning to move. That's why we were out there. We went to Georgia and we went to the Carolinas because we were trying to get a home there. And we were going to go to Texas right after, but we ended up having to come back home for different reasons. But yeah, that was the goal, and it still is on the table. If we get another one of these weird scenarios, if they drop another pandemic or something, the first thing smoking we're hopping on, and we're going straight to the South, and let the chips fall where they may, because that's how I move. Like I can get up and go in a second. I'm that type. Like, tell me where to go. I'm there. So yeah, it's definitely on the list. Yeah, in the summertime, Texas summer, I believe it. That's anywhere though, especially anywhere south. It's crazy. Even in Chicago, I remember when we go home for the summer, I go see my family out there, and man, it'd be hot. It'd be so hot in the summer, like yikes. I mean, it gets hot in the Bay too, but Chicago, like man, Midwest summers. Yeah, Spain. Yeah, Spain, Portugal. I'd like to go to Spain and Portugal for sure. UK, Paris, Germany, Netherlands. I've been to several times. I love those areas, but I've been. So I really want to go somewhere I haven't been to Spain, haven't been to Portugal. As far as Europe, and then there's Eastern Europe, which I don't have any familiarity with. It seems a bit intimidating for me. I don't know. I'm just like I just don't know anything about it. So I w- I w- I wouldn't mind checking it out though. Different parts like Czech Republic, Poland. I'd like to go to Poland at some point. Yeah, France is great. Um, I went to Paris and I went to what was this other city? It's like outer France. It's almost bordering Germany. I forget the name of it, but it was gorgeous. It was like nothing like Paris. It was a totally different world. I couldn't even believe it. Yeah, Prague. I'd love to go to Prague. But yeah, Paris was beautiful. I love the limestone, the aesthetics and the history of just how Paris was built. It's a really interesting history. But just the aesthetics and the architecture really got me. I really loved that. And the food was amazing. I mean, some of the best food on earth is in France. And that's just because they're so meticulous and serious about food and the ingredients and where it's from and just the attention to detail. It's very Japanese-esque. They have a similar focus. Uh, Only problem I had with Paris was the dog poop. At least where we went, the few different places we went in Paris, there's just a lot of dog poop, And that was hard. It reminded me of San Francisco. It's just like poop everywhere. I'm like trying to look at the beautiful buildings and the scenery, but I can't help but have to keep looking down and hopping over poop. It was driving me crazy, honestly. It didn't ruin the trip, but it was a damper. It's like no one picks up the poop after their dogs. It's weird. Like, don't you guys pick this stuff up? Just let your dog poop anywhere and keep it moving. And you know what? I did not step on any the whole time. I was focused, man. And you'd see just smeared all over. It was bad. It was so bad. That's not dog poop. Scott. Well, in San Francisco, it's definitely not dog poop. Definitely not. But in Paris, you see there's dogs everywhere. There's a big dog culture there. Everybody got a little dog. I'm not even kidding. There's no children, but there's dogs everywhere. Outside of Paris, it's different. France is huge and beautiful, and it's very diverse, actually. Not ethnically, but just culturally. Parisian culture is Parisian. It's its own world almost. If you go to like rural France, it's like a different world completely. Yeah, at Seattle, yep, SF, Paris, poop everywhere. Facts. Absolute facts. There's little dogs running around all over the place. And not wild. You know, it's not like the Philippines, which is another beautiful, beautiful country. I loved it. I want to eventually get back there at some point in my life. Probably the best food you'd ever have, because everything's fresh, especially if you go out on these like fisherman boat kind of things. They take you out there and they catch the fish and they cook it up for you right there. Fresh fruit. I mean, it's insane. I went to the Philippines. That was a while ago. That was years ago, but man, what a great experience. But yeah, back to Paris. Poop everywhere, man. And these little dogs, it's like everybody got a little cute little dog. It don't matter who you are, man, woman, everybody got these little dogs. Very interesting. Get a real dog weighing at least 80 pounds or more. Yeah, you don't see big dogs. That's one thing I did not see. I didn't see any big dogs. It's always like miniatures and, small breeds. A couple medium size here and there, but small breeds. Yeah, south of France. Yep, best part. Beautiful, beautiful country. Of course, I have issues with the politics, but I mean, aesthetically speaking, I mean, beautiful. My boy ate a dog by accident in the Philippines? No way. Really? It's not like China where you just see them cooking up dogs out in the open. In the Philippines, it's pretty taboo. Though I know that exists, it's pretty taboo. It's not like out in the open like that. You have to go certain places to have that. That's crazy. That's unfortunate. Oof. Yeah, French food, so good. They have really good sausages and like their burgers. They have a different take on like burgers. It's so good. I know that sounds very simple, but you just have to have it. And they do these onion soups that are really good. And anything they make, as I said, they put so much effort into everything. It's just extremely high quality, good stuff. And it's not expensive. That's the thing. It's not expensive. You go out there and spend way less than you would in America, especially post like inflation. It's not expensive. That's the shocking part of it. Japan too, especially now. Cheap. You can get a whole meal. You can feed a family for less than $100 with kids. Yep. Yeah, I love Japanese cuisine. Not all of it, but certain dishes I really, really love. Some of the more traditional dishes I'm not a big fan of, just because I'm not really into fermented, kind of cold, raw stuff. Yeah, French onion soup. That's one of the staples out there. Yeah, ooh, buddy. So good. You know what's interesting about Europe? And I saw this all over Europe, whether I was in the Netherlands or if I was in Germany, London, didn't matter. They have this thing, shout out to all my people from different parts of the European continent. There is all the bathrooms, all the stalls, they have a push button, this like push button flush thing. Like, we have to flush the toilet, we have like handles and stuff. Or sometimes we'll have nothing, just a sensor. It's like they have these, it's like, how do I explain? They're like circles. They're like two circles, and it's everywhere, and they're always very similar. There's these two circles, and they're big. They're like the size of, I don't know, like the size of a softball, something like that. It's so interesting. And you just push these giant buttons. And I know that's probably weird and random, but I just noticed that. I was like, we don't have this in America. Why is this everywhere? I just thought that was interesting. They just have their own flushing devices, and I don't know. Random. I thought that was weird. I was like, oh, we don't have anything like this. What is this? Another thing I noticed is door handles in Paris. What's up with the door handles? Do I have any Parisians in the house? What's up with the door handles? I mean, it's such a everything they keep very traditional, right? Even the buildings, you don't see them upgrade a lot of things. They want to keep it original. And I like that. I actually really like that. But I noticed on a lot of places, the door handles don't work. They're like broken, halfway falling off. It's so hard to like get into open doors and close. I had so many door handles like come off. I'm just like, damn, what's up with the door handles, man? I don't know. I thought that was funny. Yeah, the circle thing and the bidets are amazing. I didn't see as many bidets in Europe as I do in like Japan. Like Japan, everywhere has a bidet. It's just amazing. It's glorious to be able to go into a public bathroom with a bidet. It's a what is it? It's a privilege. Yeah, it's a privilege. It's cleanliness. It really is. Yeah, the thick ornate doors. Exactly, Melody's Child. Perfectly stated. That's what I like. I love it. But when the door handles are so finicky, it's like, man, why is this always, it don't matter where I go, it's this damn door handles jiggling, halfway falling off. But I do love that old stuff, the vintage old stuff. Keep it original. We don't got to get all fancy. Oh, let me turn that down. We can keep it nice and original. Don't need all the fancy pantsy stuff. Artsy fartsy. Damn, we almost did 3 again. Goodness. Tired old handles. Giant doors too. Yes. Especially in Paris. Man, we were staying, what was this? Where was that? It's like, I think Lemire was short for God, it's a very popular little neighborhood in Paris. Cool spot, just poop everywhere. Aside from that, it was just like so cool. But you're going down, I like how and this is the way Paris is designed. It's like fortresses. So you'll just see these giant walls and you'll have no idea that there's like a whole apartment complex inside that, but you got to get through the giant doors. And then once you get through these doors are like 20 feet high, right? Once you get through these doors, you walk in and then there's just like, what is that thing? What is it called? There's a term for it. Where in the middle, it's like all these beautiful plants and trees, and around it are these complexes, like units. And everything is like that. It's just different. It's just, so romantic, right? It was like, whoa, now I get it. Now I understand why people like Paris so much. It's not just movies, But yeah, these doors, they're just so huge. And when you look outside, you just see these doors. It just looks like a wall. And then when you go in, it's just all these people are living in here. Courtyard, there we go. Goodness. Yeah, and there's atriums. Yeah, courtyard. Yep. It's so cool. And it's like, wow, I would have never even realized all of this was in here. When you go outside, it just looks like a little alley or something. And what I also like about it is when you go inside to your apartment or your condo or whatever, and you go in, you don't hear anything out. You don't hear any of that outside noise that you just heard when you were on the main street. It's just quiet. You don't hear everything. It's really cool. I wish San Francisco was like that, because in San Francisco, when I used to live there, man, I'm hearing crap all night. I'm hearing people throwing up, coughing, screaming at each other all night. Cars going by, music bumping, bass, all this, all night, right outside my window. Like that's what I'm used to. I'm used to opening my door and having to step over people drunk, passed out, on my doorstep. Like that's what it was like. So there, it's just different. I don't know. It was cool. I was like, all right, I like this. It's interesting. Yeah, architecture is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, community behind the wall. Yeah. Now there's some, me and my wife were talking about this. We're like, well, as cool as this is, you also could get trapped in here too. There's that element. It's like there's the two uses of a wall, right? It could keep people out, but it also could keep you in. So, it's yeah, man. I want to travel again, man. I really want to get out. I don't think I'm gonna be able to this year, though. Not this year. I don't think so. I don't even know if I want to, actually, with all of this new golden age crap. We'll be covering this Friday. I'm gonna be going in on this whole Stargate. I got a whole man. I could probably do the show today, actually, but I want to give it at least another day to kind of gather some more intel and put together, kind of strengthen up my positions and get some more resources, etc. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know. What do you guys think with this whole Trump thing? It's crazy. Yeah, it sounds too good to be true. It's a bit over the top. We already know the technocracy is thriving. But there are some good things that could come out of this, regardless if it's set up in part of the plan. I'm personally really looking forward to some taxes change into the tax system. Now, I personally think the change in the tax system is directly related to the change in the economy, which is digitalization, which is not a good thing, but we got to take some little wins, and it would be great. And I'm not saying Trump is going to do this because he's being put in a position to follow through or fulfill certain orders given down to him. I'm not saying like, oh, Trump's going to take away taxes, but it would be great. It would be amazing if we could just get rid of this crap. And he has been talking about the external revenue service, which I think is a pretty cool idea. Now, I do understand tariffs have their negative aspect regarding business, etc. I'll talk a little bit about this on Friday, but I don't know where I sit just yet on the particulars here, because there might be some big changes, and they all might not be bad. It would be cool if they just significantly decreased taxes. That'd be amazing. Wouldn't it be great if we could actually keep our own damn money? Right? It'd be great. It's robbery. So, I don't know. He's talking about bringing factories back. I think this is a part of deglobalization, which is, I'll be talking about a little bit on Friday. Bringing factories back would be great, producing things here. How realistic is this stuff? I don't, doesn't seem very realistic, but yeah, no taxes on OT sounds cool. No taxes on tips, right? I love this stuff. I'm loving that. Let's go. Yeah, he's gonna end the IRS. Let's go. I'm not saying I'm gonna be a Trumper after the fact, but let's go. Let me see that. I'm trying to see that, please. Thank you. Yes. Fully on board. However we can get it, man. And to get rid of these damn people. FDA, all these people, man. Well, I understand these are people's jobs, right? So I have to be sympathetic and sensitive to that. But come on, man. Let's do something different here. Yeah, we're getting placated. Yeah, I agree. That's the scary part. It's like the bittersweet. It's like I can see some good things are gonna happen, but Trojan horse style, if you know what I mean. Yeah, make the XRS, not the IRS. Yeah, yeah. I like the idea. And again, it's not Trump's idea. You know, this stuff has been set up. At least from my purview, this has all been set up and it's rolling out, and it's part of a massive transition into a new type of system. Right? But there's no guarantee the system's going to work the way they want it to work. So I always have a little bit of optimism. Yeah, we need to improve the U.S. economy. Spot on, Tyra. Yes. Yes. We need to improve the economy, fix some of these industries, get American jobs back, factories, industry, all of that stuff. Those are great things. Right? Like, seriously. But, you know, what can we really expect? I'm just trying my best to be optimistic when rationally possible. You know, I'm not a black pill, or I'm not one of these types that's, the world's ending. No, there's going to be some good too. We got to be a little more balanced in some of this, of course, but be aware of what's going on. And it isn't to say we're trusting any of these people, but let's get some wins. Let's get some wins, even if they're small wins. Let's take some wins, man. A good example is being able to speak a little bit more openly on the internet. It's a great win. That's a win. Even if it's part of something bigger down the line, it's a win. It's a small win. I'll take it. It does look like this whole 2018 to 2021 censorship thing is changing. It looks like it's changing. And I'll have some arguments for why that is on Friday. They don't have to censor people anymore. And we've talked about this already. They have shadow banning, and they have algorithm boosting. They don't have to censor you. They'll just shadow ban you and boost the misinformation. That's all 2023 to 2024 was. Shadow banning those truth speaking and artificially boosting the misinformation and propagandists through algorithm. That's all they got to do. You become a little mouse in the corner yapping where only a small portion of people can hear you. And the Tim Pools and all of these guys are all over the place everywhere, regurgitating the propaganda to keep everybody in a trance, to keep everybody misinformed and disinformed. And it makes it look like the ratio, right? Because they're creating a ratio. So now the ratio makes us look like, oh, we're crazy. We're the conspiracy. See, we're the outliers. When in fact, a whole lot of us are feeling the same way. It's just we don't have any voices that are actually getting out there. Our voices look so small and insignificant. People don't respect that. People look at, oh, you're small. No one hears you. They don't respect that. That's where we're at now in this content creation world. If you're not getting all the numbers, if you're not getting all the interviews, if you're not on the podcast circuit, you don't matter. Your voice doesn't have any real meaning or significance. And definitely if you're not repeating what the famous people are saying. If you're not repeating the talking points that the famous big people are saying, you're just some weird conspiracy theorist that, doesn't really matter. That's where we're at. So they don't have to censor anyone because they got these new algos and they have these new narrative movement things going on where they have, whether it's Daily Wire or, all of these people that are blowing up on TikTok and all of these people that are blowing up on the podcasts, they've replaced the mainstream media. So it seems like we are kind of getting in this new era where we're going to be able to say a lot of things we couldn't say 4 years ago, 3 years ago. But it's because these algos keep us where they want us, right? It's hard to break out of that. That's the frustrating part. It's like we don't have a fair shot. But, we'll take what we can get. I'm thankful for just even being able to be up here, having a channel where I could put out my ideas, even if it's limited algorithmically. I have no control over that. I'm not, I can't do anything about it. Shout out to Hulk, man. We've been talking about this for, man, for years now, but it's happening. A few years ago, we were just theorizing this, but now we know that, damn, these are silos. We're dealing with silos now, like where they algorithmically silo certain topics, and the whole like quote unquote truth community has been co-opted by all of these like TikTok people. It's like weird, man. So weird. Talking about stuff like from 2015 is like, come on, man. And then still playing into the whole Trump thing, left right paradigm. Or they'll be a little critical, like, I don't really trust him, but, we'll see what he can do. It's all we got. It's like, nah, man, we don't have anyone. There's no one here for us. There's no one here for us, man. I don't care what side of the government. There's no one here for us. All we have is Christ. That's it. And each other, really, Yeah, we're going in this year. Definitely. And it looks like things are definitely becoming a little more like conservative. I got some clips here I'll be playing on Friday where the script is turning, it's flipping. It's like, it's weird, man. It's like, wait a minute. Everybody calling out the JQ, like mainstream people really going in with anti-progressive sentiment, and it's fully boosted. Interesting. It's weird. Tables are turning. I mean, I'm not falling for it. It's an okie doke. I'm familiar with the okie doke. But hey, it's a small win though. If we could say a little bit more, be a little more straight up, then I'll take it. Pendulum is swinging. Yeah, it really is, Smash. It really is, man. And, though I understand the games and the politics and all of that, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm swinging. Hey, let's have a little fun with it. Being beat down politically for so many years now, it's nice to have a little freedom here. It's nice to be able to say a little something and not get hit on your hand, right? I'll take it for what it's worth. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's snowing in the South, right? Beverly Gilchrist, long time listener. Good to see you, sis. It's snowing out there, isn't it? It's snowing in Florida. Shout out to Florida, man. Another beautiful, beautiful state. Snowing out there. Crazy. I'll look at it like we got a reprieve to get our houses in order. There we go. Shout out to Brother Reg, man. There we go. That's it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's time to, get back to brass tacks, get the house in order, prepare, but also be thankful, be thankful. Humility, gratitude, all of those things are really important right now, man. Let's just be thankful. With all the bumps and bruises, let's be thankful, man, seriously. Like, we're still here, man. We're still able to do this and congregate. Let's not let these like wins get us too excited, because I see a lot of conservatives really getting hype, man. Like a bit too much. Let's pull it back a little bit. Axiom says algorithmic governance is a completely new concept that must be critically analyzed for sure. Yes, absolutely. And this is going to be a chunk of my work for the next however many years. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's so true. We have to create a whole new kind of field of research and study and exposure of this. Yeah. Yeah, weather modification worldwide. It's happening. It truly is. It truly is. Snow in the subtropics equals global warming, LOL, right? Yes, Melody Child. We always have to be thankful for our blessings, yes. Yeah, the weather's just weird a little bit everywhere. everything's a little off. It seems like it almost doesn't matter where you're at. It's like we're trading. The West and the East is trading off on like weird weather. Man, I just hope we don't get hit with too much snow this year. It seems like everyone's getting a little bit of snow. It doesn't matter where you're at now. It's like a new thing. It's a new part of the weather system. Yeah, they will own the weather in 2025. Yeah, that's our goal. Yeah, Worm, me, Hulk, and bro Theo of Unplug 'em do need to get together soon, and we will. We always do. You know, it's always just a matter of time. But yeah, we definitely got to do that. Especially with Trump in office now, we have to have like a 2025 kind of like meeting. All right, guys, let's get together and let's throw some ideas out for the year. You know, we got to have a show like that. Definitely soon. We want to give Trump. Let's give him a few more weeks to make some moves, and then we'll be able to really kind of analyze. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for that, Kanga. There's just a lot to be said, right? It's such a weird year. The politics are crazy. Everything's flipping, which makes it more obvious. It's just dialectics, right? How is all of a sudden things going right? It's just dialectical, man. Totally. It's just too obvious. No, you ain't demanded too much, Warren. We've been, we've been planning on doing this anyways. We were supposed to do one because we did the election or selection, and then we had planned something else, but yeah, so it's been in the making. Yeah, reality is broken. Yeah, it really is. It is. At least the one through the screens everyone is watching. Yeah, Hulk, I do. And I know we will. There will be some beneficial things. I just hope people stay in the spirit and stay balanced in their thinking and rational and don't get into the emotions. Because let me tell you this, man, and this is just hypothetical. Let this man take away the IRS or let this man significantly lower taxes. Do you understand the level of compliance and praise he's going to get? I mean, maybe even from the left when you take away taxes or at least lower them significantly, which he might do. It's possible. And honestly, I'm hoping he does. I'm telling you, man. It's robbery what they're doing to us. But do you understand the level of support he's going to get? Man, everybody is like, I don't care what Trump says. He's the man. I don't care what he do. Yeah, it is extortion. It truly is. So, there's that there too. It's what a move. What a move that would be. What a power move. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, Barry. A lot of people are saying that he's the Antichrist. Yeah. I've been hearing this one. Him, Obama. I'd love to keep my money too. I'm telling you, man. Goodness gracious. It makes me cry almost. Not literally, but I'd be wanting to cry when I look at what they're taking. It's like, man, how can you do this? All the work we do. And it's damn near half of the money you make, they take. And I just have to watch it go away. Man, dude. It would be life-changing. Just put it that way. It would be life-changing. Yeah, Kanga, he has been talking about at least changing the system, creating a new type of tax system. I mean, he's even said he's going to get rid of the IRS. I think that's a lot of lip service. But, stop paying. Yeah. I understand that view too. For sure. I wish we all just did that. I'd be down. Yeah, they're only taking because we comply. It's true. It's true, man. Yep, so much to pay a criminal government that's just giving the money away to Israel or giving the money to to Ukraine, giving it to somebody else, giving it to prisoners in jail getting gender affirming care surgeries. Yeah, he's talking about getting rid of the Fed too. This is going to be a big dialectic. I'm going to mention this Friday. We're about to see a battle between Trump and Powell. And I think it's going to be very dramatic. And it's possible they might even change the Fed structure. But it's in my view, it's going to be with an already planned solution that's digital, a new type of digital system. But it's going to come under the guise of Trump beating Powell and getting rid of the Fed. That's why libertarianism and Ron Paul are going to play a role. That's why conservatives and libertarians are coming together. Because the libertarian dream of getting rid of the Fed might come true, at least to some degree. But they have they got something set up though. That's the thing. And it's just a theory, but bro, if they pull that, do you understand how many people are going to support that? It's going to bring everyone together. It's going to be such a unifying moment under Trump. Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, here comes a blockchain, all of that. That's the thing I'm worried about. I hope it's not like, because that's market abuse as far as I'm concerned. If they create this blockchain, fully digital, fully transparent economy of a certain type of digital currency, I mean, that could be of course, I have to see what it entails, but that could be MOTB. And that's what I'm more concerned about than anything. Like we could possibly see that in our lifetime, you know? So we'll see. The one world order, yeah. The new world system, right? With this new kind of blockchain kind of thing. Yeah, read crack code. Yep. It is a choice. It is. It's one of those things where they're hanging it over our head, you know? Yeah, it's coming. Nothing's sure. Absolutely. It is definitely coming. It's all the beast system. Yeah, that's how I look at it, man. Don't we realize these kind of massive network digital things that connect directly to our person? This is a beast system. There's nothing good about that. I get convenience and all of that, but no, guys, no, this is not what we want, man. Shout out to Jack Nichols T. Good to see you, man. I appreciate that. I recognize you. You've been around for a while, man. Always great to see people who've been rocking for so many years. And Mass Brewer, shout out to Mass Brewer. Another like 2016 listener, man. Still in the building. Yeah, the last trumpet, right? Per Truth says, I believe we're already living in the BS. I agree with this. Like it's already formed, right? It's just hasn't, in my view, it hasn't met its final form, but we are in it for sure. We are in the beast. This is the beast system we're in. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Cars and homes will all be connected, even if you have a condo apartment. Yeah, I mean, that level of control by some tech company is just insane to me. Like, no, no, this is not the way, man. This is not the way. So I'm gonna let you guys get out of here, man. I apologize for these long shows. We supposed to do an hour and a half, but this week we had a little fun. You know, we got to have a little fun. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around. WCM has been around since 2016. That's amazing, man. I love that. Great to still see you here. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Actually, right when we wrap up here, I'm gonna start working on developing the rest of my outline for Friday's show. Jason's in the building. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, for Future Talk Fridays, episode 118. So much to talk about with all this new Stargate stuff. Right out the gate, man. First day in office, or I guess technically second day in office, this dude's trying to sell us mRNA AI systems for cancer. I mean, it's like, guys, What have we been talking about for at least 2 or 3 years now regarding Trump and what he's bringing in? Second day in, this dude got Sam Altman, right? And the CEO of what is it? What is that company? Oracle. CEO of Oracle talking about we're going to create a new AI infrastructure that's going to cure disease. It's like, wow, dude. You didn't even give us a week and you're already bringing out this biodigital convergence infrastructure. Already. He had the CEO of SoftBank Japan, the people behind Project Moonshot, the people who own Boston Dynamics now, talking about this is the new golden age. You're bringing in the new revolution. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Second day. He got Sam Altman, that creepy little dude, up here telling us they're going to save the world with their damn AI bio-digi stuff, man. Wow. But I got a whole lot to say about it. Anyhow, I'll see you guys then for Future Shock Fridays. I'm going to be going in, so I appreciate y'all for being with me, man. I'll see you soon. Peace and blessings to you all.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe. Our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.